know what it is. You know what it is. One more again. One more again. Last time we gotta do one more again because I got my homie on here. Let's go! Another episode of Students of the Game. I'm your host, Jalik the Student. Bring back hard dogs. The name of the channel is Jaguar the Band Dog. If you're new, you know what we do. We talk about real working dogs. And one thing about this channel, guys, you are free to speak however you want to. Even if you're a troll, I will let you stay on as long as you funny and you cool. If you're a troll, you're not funny and you're not cool, I'm gonna have to get you out of there. But if you cool and you funny, even trolls can stay on here. And we agree to disagree. We have fun. We learn. Edutainment. Shout out to KRS-One. So what's happening? A Geezy. I got hold on. Let me let you know. This was A Geezy's idea. He sent me the message on Instagram. He's like, yo. I was like, what you talking about? He's like, yo, that's the topic. I said, you know what? I'm gonna do that tomorrow. And guess what? I said, you want to come on? Because my boy, he ain't been holler at me. When's the last time you been on here? It's been almost.
It's been when we did Living with Sentinels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was all three of us was on here.
Yeah. So so just tell him what you do. You got the guy. Oh, let me tell you this, guy. He won't tell you this, but the guy is real gifted with his hands. I'll be like, bro, you can do all that. To him, it's normal, so it's no big deal. But to me, I'm like, bro, so he's very gifted, guys. So if you're in the area, you need some. Trust me. But go ahead. Go, Ed Geezy.
Yeah, I just been chilling, man. Enjoying raising these dogs. Doing our best I can, take care of them. That's about it. Enjoying them. I'm looking to go, for real. I'm looking to go off grid in the next 2 years, for real. That's the biggest thing on my plate.
Oh, so you're going to do what they call, you going to be sovereign?
I don't know what that is, but yeah, I definitely want to go off grid.
Y'all know when they're sovereign. Yeah, okay. So you're gonna be off grid.
I'm definitely trying to get out this loop for sure.
So you're gonna have like solar power? You mean off grid like that, or?
Yeah, I'm going solar power. I'm looking at water barrels, all that. Yeah, I'm trying to go completely off grid.
Wow. So let me ask you this: so when you go off grid, you know you can't wear sneakers, right? So what kind of sandals you gonna be wearing? You gonna be barefoot?
Oh, Crocs in sport mode. I'm be in sport mode every day.
So when you go, you got it. What they call it, grounding. You know, everybody that off grid, they be grounded.
Yeah.
So tell us. So give us an update on First of all, let's talk about your Patterdale because he got 2 Sentinels, y'all. Talk about your Patterdale. I think his name Gangster. What he doing?
So basically, I got him because I wanted something to add to the pack. That one, the biggest thing was could survive a yard accident because I know I got high drive dogs, you know.
Okay.
And 2, another reason is Ninja is very offensive. So like where I live at, I'm still in the city, and I live with drug addicts. A drug addict will walk through your yard like it's not nothing. And with that said, I wanted a dog maybe somebody could kick. I'd rather you get bit by a gangster than get bit by a ninja. And
okay.
With that said, that's how I got Gangster, because it's more, I don't know if people know, but littler dogs, they look for you for more for. Now, when it comes to an animal, yeah, Gangster, especially if you're not part of the pack, it's over with. Gangster gonna be Gangster. But if he see a human being, he gonna bark first. He calls the pack for real, so he really an alarm for real.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted that addition to my pack, and he been fitting in. Yeah, he's still alive. I was nervous at first, but yeah, he fit right in. Him and Ninja, they best buds.
That's amazing. So 2 males, guys. That's what I'm saying. We learning different things. Two males can get along. It depends on their personalities. To be honest with you,
I say it's on the handler too, because it's situations
we're
where
talk about later. Yeah.
It's situations where like I can't just sit down in front of them because they all want my attention. Next thing you know, we got a collision. Now it's, hey, stop. Y'all brothers, don't be doing that. We brothers around here. Don't do that.
Okay.
And you see, he perked up now, but yeah, it's just, sometimes you got to step in and intervene. It's more so fighting over my attention for real. They all love me. They love me to death.
Okay.
You can see Ninja now. I don't know if y'all can see him. Me right here, but he's soaking up the love. He didn't calm
Yeah.
down. He ain't a wild puppy no more. So he just, for real,
So
just be wanting to chill for real.
so Ninja is from Slam and Banshee, y'all. One of those like Lee's first experiment, I guess, with the 90% pit bull breeding. So Ninja is an excellent worker. You know what I'm saying? Ninja is an excellent worker, and then you got your Patterdale Terrier Gangster, and you got Blessing, right?
Yeah, yep. Bless it.
Okay.
Yep.
So you came up with this topic, right?
Yeah. This is something. So I'm pretty sure you know when you in the dog world, like you grow so fast. Like yeah, you grow fast, and I done touch base with a lot of people from TikTok to Instagram, just hitting ventures. And with that said, this is something that me and Jalen talk about a lot. And I
Shout out to my
was
boy
like,
JC.
yeah,
Shout out to
huh?
my boy JC. Shout out to my boy JC, the
Oh yeah,
Phenom.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shout out to
shout
him.
out to bro. Yeah, doing this thing, man. Proud of my guy for real.
Yeah, that's my Jalen is a good dude, good peoples.
Yeah. But yeah, this is just topics we come up on all the time. And I just like figured I'm like, man, yeah, let me throw some. I know you just can't come up with everything. Like I say, I try to think with the 6-man mentality. That sit
Yeah,
back, analyze, watch from the background type stuff. Add
yeah,
what you can, you know what I'm saying, when you can. And I try to
yeah.
keep that mentality with everything. So
So let's get right into it then. If you got a dog with good nerves and confidence and come from let's just say American Sentinel, they got good nerves and they got good confidence and they wasn't pet class, do you think who's at fault if they not able to do protection? Who's at fault, would you say?
I would definitely say I put it all on the handler because you should know the breeder is goal is to consistency, to breed the same thing over and over. Like Lee said, consistency. So with that said, and the first thing they tell you before you get a dog, get a reputable breeder, like a person with a good reputation. So with
Right.
that said, I'm putting it all on the handler, the whole shebang. Don't do nothing you're not really prepared for.
So you
That's
saying
what I
it's so what are some things that you think might cause if it's a breeder mistake, what do you think some things that's causing that?
on the breeder.
No, not the breeder. I'm sorry. The handler. I'm sorry. We talking about the handler, not the
Oh,
breeder.
it's just
The
lifestyle.
handler.
Yeah, I think some people take dogs in. Now you got to think nowadays people think of their dogs like kids. And
Yeah.
yeah, like it's not really like a child. I mean, it's like a child, but it's not. Um, fashion accessories. You know, dogs are fashion accessories now. Clout. You know, you got a lot of insecure people that get these dogs, and you know it give them balls now because they got one of these dogs. But it's stuff that come with these dogs. It definitely is.
I don't. So do you think people like that's clients of Lee's that's buying American Sentinels is also trying to get doggy clothes?
No, I haven't seen nobody too bad. I'm probably the
Yeah, I
only
don't
one.
think, yeah.
Ninja,
I
I
don't
will
know.
say, I live in the snow belt, so Ninja do got a Carhartt.
We gotta watch y'all. You get one,
hey,
you get one
and
thing, bro. That's it.
I keep it a
Anything,
bean too. He do got a pair of booties. No. He do got a pair of
yo,
booties
bro,
too.
you
So.
skating, bro. You gotta stop, bro.
I be trying to.
You gotta bring the hard
Hey,
dogs back,
my
bro.
dude he got a short coat, man. And
Nah,
like I be
listen,
walking
bro.
him out there, I be trying to protect his little paws, man. But yeah, I'm somewhat of a victim, but like not that bad. One thing we gonna do is work for sure,
Bro, like, bro.
and that's what I see a lot. People ain't working their dogs enough.
So you saying if
I
a
see.
person get a working dog and they don't work it,
Yeah,
and
what you got it for?
right.
Yeah, what do you got it for? I knew buying Ninja, I wanted a dog that I could possibly do agility. Like I know I like building like stuff like that, A-frames and challenging the dog's mind. You know, Ninja. I seen Jaguar hop a fence. Ninja can climb a ladder.
So
So
Ninja like
challenging the
that.
dog, huh?
Yeah, Ninja on a different level, bro. Ninja is like Ninja on a different level with his athleticism. That's what I was telling y'all. If he can climb a lot, yeah, he's like that one dog on the internet, K9 arc, that one pit bull that's like Ninja. You might got put Ninja competition is Malinois and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I think he could go further. I'm gonna put it on me. Like I said, it's all on the handler. I feel like if I was more in tune with him, if I worked him a little bit more, not overworking him now. Let's not abuse him. I'm not saying like that. Like that's a part of it too. But I think if I was more strict on it, Ninja could do a whole lot more. I done had, matter of fact, my decoy who had shepherds. He got a Dutch. He got 2 miles. He told me yeah, this dog could be right. This dog is right up there with my dog, Tony. He said he could be just like Tony, bro.
Yeah, so that's amazing right there. So
and I worked Tony, and Tony a hell of a dog. I mean, like, yeah, I worked Tony. You know, I didn't try to. I'm venturing off in the decoy world, so yeah, I didn't been on the other side.
So, hey, Geezies, make sure y'all smash the thumbs up. We're gonna have some fun tonight. It's about to get heated. Like some guests, somebody gonna join soon. My boy, somebody else gonna join. So we're gonna have a fun. So I got lots of questions. You know me. So let me ask you this: if you was the advisor for Aaron, and you wanted to analyze what type of handler he was, what type of handler would you say Aaron is?
I'm more of a conditioner.
No, what type of handler? Like, what type of are you heavy-handed? Or you let them get away with stuff, or what type of overall? Yeah.
I would kind of say mediocre. I ain't gonna lie, I do talk to my dogs like they humans. I won't say I'm real heavy-handed. No, I won't say that.
So you're not.
I am lackadaisical at times. I let stuff go, but at the same time, it is times I have like been hard-handed. So I say I kind of ride the middle. I'm kind of balanced with it.
Yeah. I think it's situational. You don't necessarily have to be heavy-handed, but you do got to be a little bit more firm. You got to really put your foot down. You got to be extra firmer. Yeah, and a lot of times you got to be extra soft.
Oh, that's why you can't be no turkey with these dogs for sure.
Nah, you can't.
Like this last situation, I had sit down and I've been working hard these last couple of days. And with that said, I end up working too much. And long story short, Ninja didn't get the proper exercise. I'll say that. Like he had been on the chain spot in a while. Him and Gangster got into a little scuffle. Put Gangster on the chain, got mad at Ninja, but right after that, I'm like, all right, come on, bro. Let's go take some of this frustration out. Let's hit this spring pole. I let him hit the spring pole, and yeah, he cool. But you gotta let him get that outlet. Like, don't just put it on them. Like, be realistic. Yeah, definitely be realistic with it. Because sometimes, like I said, it's my fault. I do too much sometimes. I get too involved in jobs and stuff like that, and it leads to neglect. I mean, I got to survive in today's times.
Right.
But yeah, I just, like I said, I let him get a little outlet on the spring pole, and yeah, like I said, he's my dude, man. That's my dude, man. Best dog I feel like I ever owned.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah,
shout out to Lee Robinson for creating that that slam and banshee litter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to see. I know what's her name. Ryan got his sister Grim. So that Fury and Pups. I want to see how they develop, and then Kimura, my boy BJ the farmer, has a female from that litter that he's about to pick up on Saturday. He changed his mind on last minute. Yeah, he got the smaller one instead of the bigger one. They want to know how heavy is Ninja.
How what?
How heavy is he?
Oh, Ninja, probably about 50, 55. I'll say about 55 pounds. But I ain't gonna lie, I lean my dogs out in the winter. I mean in the summer. So I try to keep like a 2 rib. I try to keep that 2 rib, and I fast at least twice a week. Instead of once a week, I go twice a week.
So you have
Because yeah,
okay,
that
nice.
heat, I don't like them to run too hot. I keep them on ground though, like they not on concrete. But that's the reason why I keep them on ground, because you know you could wet the ground and they be cool all day for real.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So so what have you? So because you had him for like over a year, right? So how is it?
yeah, it's
Have
about a year and a half because he too. I got him about 6 months, so I had him about a year and a half.
year and a half. Oh, okay, yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, you did. Time just be going by fast because I remember you got him. Yeah,
yeah, but you know he came to me working though,
yeah,
and with that said,
he did.
he went from trying to take my head off to me working him on his old master. So he definitely my dude. That yeah. He
Yeah,
definitely it's content out there. Me and Jalen made some content. We gonna make some more. But yeah, I definitely worked him against Jalen for real. For sure, for sure.
yeah. That's a fact. The smaller size ones is
Yeah.
like
Give me a second.
they're
I'm gonna put him in this kennel real quick so you don't get too
okay.
restless.
Do your thing.
All right.
Make sure y'all smash the thumbs up. I got 8 Geezy with me.
Hold on.
I'm about to put the thing in here because as the channel grows, we're gonna have more people that want to join. Because right now, I get it.
Come on, nigga.
Some people may
Come on.
want to join, but they may be a little shy or something. But we're gonna get them out of that. Yeah. So back to the whose fault of it. If you got a dog with excellent nerves and confident and come from a line breeding, just say a sentinel. Now, if your dog got weak nerves, then that's basically the number one reason why your dog ain't gonna be able to do good. If your dog got weak nerves. Now, if they got good nerves but still don't want to do it, then I start to lean towards the handler. I start to possibly lean towards the handler. Now, there's a lot of different intricacies in between that where you can't just say this and this one, but I lean towards that way because one thing I can tell you is if you got a heavy hand and you consistently got a heavy hand and you suppressing them and not really doing it and you're not working them like Aaron is saying, then if you're not working them, you can't just you gotta imprint them too. You definitely gotta imprint them on there. So
For sure. That's definitely part of it.
let me see here. Use the mic background noise. Yes, it's a little background noise.
Oh, my bad. Let me turn this fan down.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's better.
Yeah, they got a question for you. Said, how do you work a dog to make it more athletic? What's your thoughts on that? Because you got a crazy setup in your
Yeah. I just be building stuff. I'm just getting started. I'm telling y'all, once I get off grid, oh yeah, I'm about to go crazy. I plan on getting a car, abandoned car, windows.
car. Where
I'm
you
going.
going?
Me and Lee got the
Where you
same
going?
mindset. When he say he with the agility course, I'm doing the same thing. I'm gonna go get some big black sewage tunnels. I'm gonna get some of those.
So what are some things right now for what you do that you make it? Because let me ask you this: from the time you got Ninja, do you see his athleticism is even higher?
Yeah, I like to keep it interesting.
What are some things that you done to make him do that?
Flirt pole. Flirt pole turned him all the way because he got dry for days. He loved to put his mouth on.
Okay, so flirt pole. Okay.
I got the pool vest, building that back end. I got a tire that I put on the wheel and pulley. I let them pull that around front, forward, and backwards. I let them pull it with their mouth, and I let them pull it with the harness. A-frame. Hand walking.
So explain hand walking for us, for the people out there. Explain that, please.
It's just like on the cool night. Like now, it's cool. We chilling right now. I just fed, so for real, I'll let him use the bathroom or not, so I can clean up, and I'll just take a walk. Just go for a stroll through the neighborhood.
So
The
just a
only
regular
thing
walk.
is, I live in a neighborhood nowadays. Like I said, everybody want dogs, but everybody don't be putting their dogs on a leash. Next thing you know, Ninja done went crazy because he the first one to go crazy. He gonna go crazy. And Gangster is right behind us. So with that said, please put your dog on the leash. Outsiders, because my dogs are not pet style dogs. Like he done got a hold of about, I think he got about 2 or 3 dogs now. And I walk in the middle of the street, so it's not my fault. And I'm on the leash.
So you walk in the street.
And yeah, so like with that said, your dog is bothering my dog. I'm on the leash and I use poke collars. But yeah, people just don't. Between that's annoying, and also people being all nice. Like, yeah, ain't no standing in front of Ninja. I don't know why people think. I don't understand that. Like the dog, especially dog, they speak language too. So with that said, ain't no. You see, I didn't try to pet Jaguar. I met Jaguar in person. If don't nobody know. And with that said, I immediately knew Jaguar is not the type of dog you want to pet. He's not pettable. So with that said, some people just think because you see a wagging tail and Ninja chatters when you stand in front of him, he starts to chatter. So with that said, I'm gonna warn you, but if you get too close, remember when I first got him, the dude tried to tell me to get a leash, and what happened?
Yeah.
Almost lost your hand.
Yeah.
It's not, every dog ain't pettable, every dog ain't friendly out there for sure.
They not. And that's what people, please guys, if you
my dog with a purpose.
Please don't do that. You got to learn the dog etiquette. If you meet somebody, just boom, don't even go by them like that. You can just look at them, maybe give them a compliment, that's it, but don't. It's just better like that way. Because a lot of times when you walk your dog, you kind of want to be in peace of mind anyway. People don't really want to have it. That's not really a time to really be too social like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I recommend.
It's a sad situation.
On your walks, what are you doing to make it even more challenging? Are you adding how your walks?
I may do obedience with it, like a little obedience, like sitting before you cross the street, or I may do a downstay in front of, like, while I have a conversation with somebody, or you know what I'm saying, or try to shake somebody's hand. Well, I don't do that too much, but I definitely work some obedience with it a little bit. It gives me a chance to work in real time a little bit of obedience.
Okay, so are you adding? Because I be seeing on pit bull people. I'm working in the backgrounds to try to get some pit bull people. They be having their pit bulls. They be having like I don't know if it's vests. They be having different stuff on there. They be having a weight.
Oh, you talking about far as I do weighted collar. He got a weighted collar.
Oh, you got a weighted collar? Okay.
Yeah, I do that. He also got a backpack too.
Oh yeah, you got a backpack and a weighted collar you recommend.
Yeah, like I just do the backpack like sometimes cause I go to the woods, the trails too. So like maybe I'll throw like a dog bowl or something in there, like you carry your own stuff, plus mine for real. I will say with Blessing, I tried the wagon. Yeah, it's gonna take a minute. She's a master. She got a high master percentage, but yeah, I tried the wagon though with her, but
so you do the wagon. What other stuff you got in your yard to make them do the athletic stuff? What's that thing called?
I'm gonna tell you the best thing I like for real with having multiple dogs is either rope or a large ball. Like I got a big, I think it's like 14-inch ball.
And it don't bust?
No, it's like what they be giving them tigers.
Oh, please text me that off camera.
Yeah, it's a huge red. I don't know if you ever seen the video, but
for
real, Ninja don't mess with it. It's not Ninja's thing. He not. But between Blessing and Gangster, they gonna do it all day. They chase that ball all day.
Yeah. Send me that info. I'm gonna buy one of those because I need something like that. Because
it's by a company called Jolly. It's a big like 14. It's
Yeah.
a huge ball. It's like what they throw in the tiger pins for real.
Text me that when you get a chance. Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So you do that. So you do the hand walking. What's the little wall? What's the thing that you be having a wall thing?
You talking about the A-frame?
A-frame, yeah.
Yeah. I definitely do that. That's just good cardio. Up and down, up and down, up and down.
So you do the up and down, on that.
Just good cardio. That's about it. Yeah. What else I do? Oh, the chain. Definitely, them chain spots make them different too.
Oh yeah, speak on it. Yeah, speak on that because I know.
Yeah, I definitely recommend chain over. So I do have kennels. I would tell you I do both. So like my kennels, I have chain in the kennel for my females, but I say put your females in that because it helps during heat season. So when your female is in heat, your male ninja going crazy, gangster going crazy. So with that said, it's gonna stop puppies you don't want. You don't got to worry about, oh, I just let her out. Where is she at? She done ran off. Just put her in the pen. You know, so I just,
okay.
Yeah, I'd rather have my females in the kennel. Now, males, they guard. So I'd rather, one, it's a cleaner setup for real. Because you got to think that chain, if they not just standing in their poop, that chain, as long as it's hard, is going to move it out the way. It'll move it either to the back. Usually it move it to like a little group. If they do their little running around and doing what they do, and all you got to do is sweep that little area up. And yeah. It's just, I feel chain spots is a way better setup for males, not for females. Females, I definitely prefer, I would tell you to put them in the kennel. Because like I said, it's going to stop unwanted pregnancies.
So you do that right there. So what else you getting in, what else is going on with you though? What else is going on in Ohio? I talked to my man too. I finally talked to the cool dude, the dude you told me about. He in Cincinnati, TNT Band Dogs.
Oh yeah. Shout out to bro, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, he competition, man. Me and Lee had a conversation one day, and he was just telling me about the dogs. He said, bro, I had to do the work, bro. He said, I had to go out there and find them good dogs, man. I didn't if you got a good dog, don't just stick him to anything. Get you a dog that's going to compliment him, you know? And don't just stick to your area or just go. He like, man, I had to do that. That was part of this process of making this breed. I had to go out seek the best, whether it was in another country or wherever. He like, yeah, do the work. I definitely think, bro, coming up, man. He definitely good. It's other competition out there for sure.
Who is competition? What you mean by competition?
I mean, it's. I won't even say like competition, like in a negative way. I would say healthy competition. He's healthy competition.
Break that down.
As far as I feel like TNT, when I see him working his dogs and the stuff that they do with his dogs,
yeah.
He's somebody that's gonna keep you on your toes. That's healthy competition.
Yeah, he cool. He good people's, man.
He's a good guy.
I didn't get his name yet, but I talked to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know how to.
But yeah, I feel like a lot of people can't handle that. The healthy competition, a lot of people can't handle it. They get too emotional and too insecure, and they shy away from it. It's never a loss, it's always a lesson. And a lot of people don't know how to take that in.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, he a good dude. I really look. I'm just a band dog lover. I'll be loving it.
Yeah, I'm glad to see him going. I like his dogs too, and that's something just came up where I seen him too. He just got a Samsung. He don't know how to work his phone. That's crazy. That's hard.
Yeah, some people not really tech savvy like that. It's a lot of people. Yeah, it's not a lot of tech people like that.
Hold on 1 second. Make sure you.
All right, you cool.
1 second, guys. We about to get heated up. I start off small and get heated up in a second. So you got that right there. So shout out to Cincinnati TNT Band Dog Cartel doing a thing. Friendly, with the bring back the hard dogs, you're gonna have to have some form of friendly competition or somebody that might be a rival. You might not even know them. Somebody you can look and say, you know what, they doing their thing. Let me make sure I stay on top of my game. So all the competition, if you want to call it that, is all good for the generation that I'm trying to bring back. Because I'm not the only one that's trying to bring back.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you how I'm bringing it back. I'm about to start taking this decoy. I'm waiting. I'm grinding this project season out. Well, people don't know I build a lot, like a lot of stuff, and this is project season, so it's real busy for me. I'm yards. I may be cutting grass one day, on the roof the next day. So with that said, I'm very busy right now. But once this weather break and I get to slow down a little bit, I'm getting in shape for decoy. Because I feel like this is why we got these poor masters. Nobody, for instance, Aiden, he's good burglar weight. He's the size of a burglar. But Aiden can't really work 150-pound mastiff like that. Let's be honest. They almost weigh the same, you know? And I feel like I got what it takes to really start, not to piss off the Karens, but just start to whoop these dogs. Like, if you get what I'm saying, like really put some pressure and really bring out the best in these dogs.
What do you mean by that? Because nowadays people take everything and say, if you say whoop them, go ahead and break it down. So clarify it.
Meaning like apply some real pressure. Like for instance, I'm pretty sure you can't just keep taking a bite from Jaguar. You can't really take too many reps. There's not too many people who could take reps with Jaguar. That's a working, big, huge working dog. Jaguar is what, 100 pounds at least?
115.
Yeah, and if you put dog strength to man strength is way different. It's different. It's animalistic. Like animal to human strength is way different. With that said, they could go longer. Like Lee say, dogs supposed to go for like for instance, a husky. A husky can run 50 miles like it's nothing in one day. Like that's how they get around in Alaska. Well, how many human beings you know can run 50 miles in one day? So with that said, I feel like it's more pressure to bring that. Think of the Molossers. The original Molossers was getting worked by like barbarian type men. We don't have that no more.
Let me ask you this: since we're talking about whose fault is it, what based on a dog that's more mastiffy, what's the maturity time? Because I can see where a person is working their dog, but they not really performing like they should, and a person is just gonna be like they're gonna give up and say the dog ain't ready. But then on the other hand, the person that's a little bit more patient might wait, and then that's when the dog really turn on. Shout out to my homie D Gonzo. He said his dog is turned. He got a presser. His presser is around. His presser probably not. It's not even 2 yet. I think in October it'll be 2. His name is Chief, and he told me, I just texted him earlier. He said his dog is turned and he ready to go to the thing. So what's the maturity?
But to be honest, you got to think. You got anomalies. Look at Ninja. He a 90% game dog, and he super man aggressive. So like you gonna have anomalies, but at the same time, I feel like it's on the handler again because we don't have the people to apply these pressures. Like I said, Aiden, he big in the decoy, right? He's a big decoy. Majority of the decoys that we seeing nowadays are Aiden size. With that said, it's not people out there with the strength to apply the pressure to these bigger dogs. Like I could, you know what I'm saying?
You might as well come in and change the game, though. You might as well.
That's what the goal is. I really got a niche. So I'm gonna tell you what it is. So to me, I like tattoos, right? But I'm running out of space for tattoos. Getting bit by a dog is kind of like, tattoos for me. Yeah, it's that tattoo feeling. I done ran out of space for tattoos. I was talking, shout out to Ralph with Fight Drive. I was telling Ralph that. I said, bro, it's like tattoo pain to me for real. And I enjoy it.
I don't have a tattoo. I never had a tattoo before. Yeah,
it's addicting. A lot of people get it. If you notice, a lot of people that got one tattoo got more than one. So it's definitely addictive.
I feel bad for my boy BJ the Brian the Historian. If you don't know that, if you ain't like real apt on technology and like get it, but you probably ain't gonna It's gonna be hard for me to tell you. You might want to get somebody to help you, or just go to a computer to get on. You know what I'm saying? Because this device is not connected. He
Oh,
don't.
somebody was trying to come on with us.
Yeah, he's trying to join.
Oh.
But so yeah, so masterpiece. Do you think? Because I never had a full master before. So that's truly true that they take to their 3 years old to really turn on.
Man,
That
it's
really
even
true.
worse than that. I'm gonna
For
tell
real?
you. So, like, I'm stepping into the decoy world, right? So I told a lady, right? She got a year-old cane corso. Not the. Hey man, shout out to bro. What's dude's name that you just had on yesterday?
Sam with
Much
Diamond
respect, bro. What you doing with
Diamond
this?
Creek County Crystals, yeah.
Man, much respect, bro. I respect the dog, man, bro. I much respect. But with that, and I will tell you, me and my dude is looking to do some. Me and Jalen, we talking about going hard cutting, so we might tap in.
Where
Go
you
hard
gonna do that?
cutting.
You gonna come to Georgia?
I don't know. Jalen just like, man, let's go test some dogs, bro. I'm like, all right, cool. But long story short, yeah, the lady had a Corso. He was about a year old. So I told her, I'm like, I'm gonna dress up like a burglar, and I'm a come in your backyard and
Yeah,
wiggle around, basically doing some boogeyman's. I was gonna
yeah,
hit the boogeyman's and just run off.
yeah.
So I told her, I'm like, I went back there, the dog back there wagging his tail. I'm in full ninja mode, like I'm dressed like a burglar. With that
Okay.
said, I go back and tell her like, he's not ready yet. She's like, he not ready. I'm like, bro, I'll go put that dog on the leash and bring him to you right now. She did believe me. I went back there, win the dog kennel, put the leash on the dog, and walked the dog back to her. A 1-year-old cane corso. I lie to you not.
Oh no. See, now I'm gonna be honest with you. With my
Lie to you
patience and
not.
my level, I'm like, I
Yeah.
would, I would return that back to the breeder. I'm not gonna
And this
lie.
was a guard dog. This was her guard dog. Lie to you not. That was her security. The old lady lived by herself.
Oh
I said, I'm
no.
gonna test them for you. She raised them her whole life. I think like she got grandkids that been around them and stuff. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I went
dangerous.
back there and leashed him up.
But I can't. See, I can't. I can't. That's when I would say that's the. I would say in that case that's probably the dog fault because it's not
No,
always
it's
the
her.
handler fault.
It's her
I don't
fault
know
for
about that.
buying a dog that's not. This dog ain't titled in protection. So what do you think? Just because he big, like if you ain't do your homework, again, find a reputable breeder. It says it every time. That's the number one rule. Before you get a dog, find a reputable breeder. Before I bought a dog from Lee or got one of Lee's dogs, I investigated Lee and then I got one of his dogs. I was tired of buying bullshit.
Right. I'm trying to help him out. He said he don't know what a browser is. He don't know what a browser is. He's funny. He off grid like you, bro. When you come to Cali, y'all need to hook up. Y'all got that off grid. Y'all got that off grid. Let me ask you this: when you go off grid, are you going to change your name? Are you going to do a name change or what?
Oh yeah.
What's your
I'm definitely
off grid name going to be? What's your off grid?
Godsent. I take this Godsent thing serious. Yeah.
You gonna have that's gonna be amazing. But I love when people go off grid, man. I think that's an amazing thing.
I figure if Ron Artest can do it, I could do it. So
yeah, just think if you off grid, your dog really gonna have to be on point. You get what I'm saying? You really can't have no you off grid, bro. You can't be playing no dogs, bro.
exactly.
You get what I'm saying? You can't be playing. You might run it like you can't be playing no games like that. You might have run into a mountain lion.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna tell you, I agree with Lee too, bro. I'm going to get if I go against the mountain lion, I'm taking Ninja all day. I'm taking Ninja, man. Oh, he got in.
Hey, you there?
There we go. Can you hear me?
So I'm glad. I'm proud of myself. My directions, it worked too. Because I mean, I consider myself a techie a little bit. I figured that was though. So yeah.
Once you said the Chrome, I was able to figure it out. I didn't even know what a browser was. You kept saying browser. I don't even know what that word meant.
Y'all gotta where you gonna be off grid at 8? Where you gonna be at? Where you go? What state you
I
gonna
really
be
don't know. I might stay in Ohio. I don't know. I'm just looking. Yeah, I'm just looking. I
at?
want at least 5
BJ, you
acres for real.
definitely BJ the historian. You got those off grid. Are you off grid? You got the off grid vibe, bro.
Oh, I want to be off grid, but no, I'm not off grid. I'm here in Lawndale, California. I'm as on the grid as you could possibly get. I would imagine. You know what I mean? I'm right. Yeah, no, but that's the goal. That's the dream. Right now, my family and I, we've been trying to move to Idaho for quite a while, to southern Idaho. And we put a few offers on houses, but the market out there is crazy right now. Everybody's buying it up at much over, a lot over asking price. So it's we got limited funds, man. That's a place I've been trying to get to for many years, but we're getting priced out here by the day. So we'll see how she goes. Yes, sir.
So if a dog got good, come from a background, and their nerves is good, and their confidence is good, and they try to do protection, whose fault mainly is it? And what are some things that you think would you say owners do to cause their dog to not reach their potential and be able to do it? And also, what's your total opinion on it? Because this is a interesting topic.
Yes, sir. Personally, I believe that every single breed of dog has the potential to do protection work to a certain level. Some of them are obviously going to be better suited for it than others, and then obviously individual dogs within each breed is going to be able to do it. But ultimately, what it boils down to is, can the trainer and the handler bring it out of the dog? Do they have the skills that could bring it out of the dog? Because we talked about it the other night, Zdenek blah blah, or AKA Hans Alpine. I've seen that dude. Brandon and I were talking about Chihuahuas in the chat there a moment ago. I've seen him do Chihuahuas in protection work, again, to a degree. Now, obviously, a Chihuahua doesn't have the physical capability to stop anybody, but they might be able to scare away a lot of people, and they will bite you. They might not stay in the fight very long, but they will bite you. So they are capable. Personally, for me, it boils down to if the dog has the right. There's so many factors that are involved, and you can really mess up a dog that has the highest potential possible, or you can bring up a dog to a certain degree that doesn't seemingly have any potential. And the only way to determine that is through trying it. So the most important factors is the trainer, in my opinion. You have to have a trainer.
Hold on, the trainer and the handler is the same person?
Different people.
Okay.
For protection work, you don't want your handler to be the trainer. And when I say train, I mean you're both trainers to a sense, but right. when I say trainer in this regard, I'm referring to the educator or a decoy. The thing with all this stuff on dogs, man, is that there's so many different understandings of definitions and terminology. So when one person says one thing, like protection work to me is something completely different to somebody else. Somebody might look at Schutzhund or Mondio ring or French ring, PSA, and say that those are protection dogs, that they're doing protection work. To me, that isn't protection work. There are certain facets involved in those particular sports that are also involved in protection, but that's not protection work. So, but you know what I mean? So it depends. For me, protection work means the dog's either protecting itself from a threat or protecting the owner / handler from a threat. And that's it. So, or property. Well,
for the sake of this video, the handler and the trainer is the same person for the sake of this video, because if you handling your dog and you own it, we're assuming that you're training it, even if you're not a trainer, because you are training it, because what you're training, right. You can train indirectly. So you are the trainer. Now, if you go outside of that and hire a trainer, you can say that one, and of course you're gonna need a decoy. You call them decoys here. I don't call them helpers. I just say decoy.
I call them agitators myself, or bad guys, or whatever, you know.
Decoys, yeah.
Yeah.
Helpers, I never say that.
Yeah. So personally, in protection work, I don't believe that the handler really does any of the training other than communication of when to turn the dog on or off. So essentially giving it permission, being there to recognize whether your dog's looking to you for permission to bite the person, the agitator or decoy. So when I say the responsibility, ultimately it's up to the handler / trainer in that regard to find the right agitator or decoy that can work your dog with you. And you have to know enough to know whether that person is qualified. But once you found a qualified trainer, then you're not doing the training. It's a team effort, of course, but you're not doing the training. Now, say your dog's already been trained and you're out in public in a real world scenario or whatever, your responsibility is your dog's going to recognize the threat before you do. I've never seen a person recognize a threat before the dog recognizes the threat. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened. I just haven't seen it. So once you recognize the threat, personally, yeah. I teach just like Mr. Robinson. I teach a command that tells the dog that I want them to respond in the way that they've been trained to respond to that threat. Sometimes my discernment might be different because the dog only recognizes the threat. The dog can't say like, oh, this isn't a good idea to act in this way at this particular given time. So I might need to communicate to the dog, hey, this is not the appropriate time. Even though you see a threat, I've got it handled. Mr. Robinson was talking about it the other night about the thing is, so ordinarily, or maybe it was Sam, I forget, I apologize. But ordinarily, I'm responsible as the alpha to always handle the threat. The alpha is the first person that has to handle the threat. Okay. But in a protection scenario, you have to allow your dog, which is supposed to be your subordinate, to temporarily become the alpha in a sense. And if you're not getting involved, now me personally, I get involved in the training, in my protection training, and I'll simulate it, kick, punch, fight with the agitator along with the dog. Okay. I started. I seen you when you were doing with Chakra, when you had the boogeyman coming and whatnot, and you were yelling and things like that. Yeah. That's good because that gives the dog the indication that you're fired up and they can read your emotions. Yeah. So they know when you're our hormones and our pheromones, they kick off and the dog can read that. So they know that like, okay, hey, this is a serious situation. There's a lot of times during training when you have to, that's why I like Aiden. I apologize for getting off topic again a little bit, but that's why I like Aiden's decoy work or agitation work that he's been doing with Lee. That dude knows how to fire a dog up and he knows how to make it seem serious and real to the dog. No disrespect to Mr. Temple, but I've never seen Mr. Temple ever bring something out of Lee's dogs that Aiden has.
Lee will tell you that Keaton is a hog guy.
Right. No, and he's been working with them for a long time. You know, I was following ever since Keaton first came there to ever work. I think the very first dog he worked, if I'm not mistaken, was Lynn, and started training with him. But I've never seen him ever behave in a manner to really bring that defensive, protective side out in the dogs. And maybe he hasn't been asked to. I'm not, like I said, no disrespect to him whatsoever. I have a lot of respect for that guy.
That's not really his thing. Like,
right. Yeah, but Aiden, he knows how to do it.
Yeah, Aiden know how to. It's like I know. I don't know how to. Y'all know how to groom dogs. Y'all know how to cut hair and all that.
Yeah, I'll be.
You know how to cut. You know how to groom and do all that and cut their nails.
I'll be doing everything, bro.
See, I don't know how to do that.
I'm a sad, bro.
If I had a schnauzer, I wouldn't know how to do. I guess we all good at. We have certain things we know how, but you're not gonna be. Well, some people. I don't know how to do all that. I don't know.
I'm not a grooming.
Decoy. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
I'm not a. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I definitely gonna give a dog a murder one for sure.
Yeah, with a messed up haircut. Yeah.
No, my murder ones look good. I had rehomed the I think I had her on her last show. I had rehomed the I think it was like a schnoodle or something. It's like not a schnoodle, but it was like a Shih Tzu wiener dog looking dog. And I had cut her hair and did her nails and everything before I gave her away. And she turned out pretty good when she fluffed up. But I definitely gave her a murder one. I try to make her look like a little lion a little bit. But the lady that took her helped. She liked it. So yeah.
So what's your thoughts on the maturity of a Mastiff? And did you hear the scenario that he said? He said you didn't. Did you hear what he said about the scenario?
No, the whole time I was trying to get logged on, I
Trying to get
couldn't hear
on.
anything that
Go
you
ahead
guys
and
were
say that
saying.
scenario again. Yeah, because it was interesting. So long story short, he tested a 1-year-old Corso out to do some boogeymans, and he basically, the dog didn't do it. He was able to take the dog and just walk away with the dog.
Yeah, Mastiffs do typically mature later than a lot of other breeds do. Typically, I would say around, you want to give them until they're at least 3 years old to fully mature.
Yeah.
But a 1-year-old dog should still be able to recognize a threat. And if it has a defensive drive in it, it should want to bark. It should show some defense. It should show some alertness to it. But again, depending on that decoy or that agitator, they might not have brought that out in the dog. Defense drive has, all drives.
So you won't get off sidetrack. They didn't go to a decoy. He was just testing them out for the first time. So that's the scenario.
Himself?
Yeah. He just
Aaron was the boogeyman?
Basically, I dressed up like a burglar. I went slamming trash cans. You feel me? Acting like I'm trying to break in the house. Dog didn't bark. As a kid, I used to steal dogs. So I know when the dog is I could take this dog. And basically, I took the dog.
Right. So there's two different things that might have happened in that case. Either the dog didn't have much defensive drive whatsoever. It might have just not have kicked in yet, or it had an extremely, what I was getting to is that drives have what they call thresholds, right? So there's certain threshold of stimulus that is necessary to elicit or bring out the drive in the dog, that the reaction that you want. Now, some dogs, they have a lot of defensive drive, but it takes a lot of stimulus. They might have extremely strong, it might have been which is rare, but it might have been just a very strong nerve Corso, in which case just the banging of the things, if they're not sound sensitive. See, myself, I used to always train, or not train, but I created CDs that had all type of different sounds on it that my dog would experience, and I would play them the whole time that they were puppies growing up. As soon as they were 3 weeks old and they were able to hear, so like garbage trucks, banging, lawnmowers, leaf blowers, car horns, just whatever, you know what I mean? Many sounds. And then they become desensitized to those sounds. So then those might not be enough of a trigger or enough of a stimulus to elicit a response depending on that dog's drive. So that might have been the case. Go ahead.
So I was just going to ask you a quick scenario, right? We in Roman times, right? With the original Corso in Roman times.
So
this is the scenario, right? We in Rome, right? And I go inside there, and do you think I could take a Roman Cane Corso in Roman times? The original
I couldn't tell you. I have no clue. I've never seen an original Roman Corso. I don't even know whether that was the case, man. There's so many myths and legends and stories about the origins of dogs.
I'm trying to get you to see the scenario for what it was. So let me ask you this. Let me rephrase the question. So if that was my dog that done that, and I came to you with advice, and I said, this is the situation, I took my 1-year-old Corso, I'm afraid that somebody can just walk away with it. What advice are you going to get them? Are you going to say get another dog, or are you going to say let them mature because they are Mastiff?
I would more than likely, I'm going to say let them mature a little bit, but I'm also going to say that one thing like that is not, you can't judge a dog off of one specific encounter. So was the owner there of the dog, or was it by itself? Listen, I don't have a high opinion of Cane Corsos, so it might have just been that it was a bad dog. You know what I mean? And that might have been the case. It's hard for me to say from that thing, but just based off of that, I've given you my answer. You guys can accept it or you can't. The likelihood is that it hadn't matured. It hadn't matured enough.
Yeah.
Or he wasn't doing the right things to bring that drive out in the dog. What I would do in that particular case is I would just continue to work, and I would you might have not have been close enough. Sometimes it has to be a direct physical threat to a dog to elicit the defense drive. Those other antics aren't necessarily going to bring it out. Doesn't mean it isn't a good dog, but I would guess that dog is probably, especially at 1. I don't ever start protection training myself until the dog's at minimum of 18 months old, minimum, and even more so usually till after it's 2 years old. when they're fully physically mature, fully mentally mature, and that happens with Mastiff breeds later than in a lot of other breeds. Your herders, your traditional protection dogs, bulldogs, whatever, it happens later with Mastiff breeds. They're slower to mature. I understand a lot of people don't want to wait that long. It's hard to wait that long when you want a protection dog, especially if something happens beforehand. But to ask a 1-year-old dog to protect, I don't like that. That's like asking a child to protect you. You know what I mean? And some children might be about it. There's lots of children that are about it, but they're not. It's not right. So I would tell them, let that dog mature. And you can walk into almost anybody's yard and take a dog, depending if it hasn't been trained to the right response. That dog might have not known it was allowed to attack. Barking, though, it should have barked. You know what I mean? It should have barked at least. If it's hearing suspicious.
I wasn't looking to get attacked. I was looking for him to bark. If he would have barked, I was gonna run off. I would have.
Right.
You got a good dog.
Right.
I look.
Which is the appropriate response.
His tail. He like, man, what's up, bro? You come get me. Like, that's how he look.
Try it again if you still
walked away with him.
if you still know that guy, try it again. Try it.
She said she getting rid of the dog. She don't want it. She don't want it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you though, like, what is?
Hey, B, you might got a little kennel blindness. B, you might got a little kennel blindness.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, what's the age? What's your cutoff age where you be like,
yeah,
or
what's your situation? He just came in there and walked off with the dog. That's like, woo! You at least bark and then put up some type of threat. But I'm glad you said that, B. Hold on, because I wanted to know the critical point, because this is a good topic, because when do you give up or when do you let them go on? So go ahead, B.
Listen. Cane Corsos are not bred like they used to be bred. They're bred now to be a lot more pet type dogs. You know what I mean? Like Sam was saying the other night, they're bred for a whole different temperament than they used to be bred for. Personally, I don't believe that females should even own a Cane Corso. 99% of them. That's just my opinion. I mean, I know I'll get hatred for that, but I don't think that females should even handle Cane Corsos. The vast majority of females. Most females don't have the temperament themselves that is required to properly handle and bring a Cane Corso to their full potential. They just don't have that type of personality typically. Now, that dog, so to answer your question about when do you get rid of it, when I want to get rid, here's what you also need to know. Was that dog's parents, did they do the work that you want them to do? Did they come from parents, a lineage of dogs that did it? Then you might say, okay, this dog is something different. But if the parents didn't do it.
Scenario B, just so you can understand, the hypothetical scenario is if the dog came from the lineage and was supposed to do that. So it's from people that are actually buying it to do protection. So that's the hypothetical scenario.
No, I would give it to. You got to think too. A lot of people is just out here buying stuff. Again, a reputable breeder. You got to go.
Reputable breeders.
You got
so hypothetically,
you got the shit bull too. So
it comes from a lineage that's solid in defensive type of work. It's been proven. It's been from a good breeder.
German Shepherd.
We're gonna stick with the Cane Corso, whatever it is. It's been that way. Let's just stick with the Cane Corso. Okay. I would give it to at least 3 years old, unless maybe even longer. There's lots of bulldogs. I've had bulldogs turn on for fight drive when they're 5-6 years old to hunt. Hunt 5-6 years old. Sometimes certain dogs mature at different rates. Sometimes it clicks in their mind and it changes, man. I had a female bulldog that could go around other dogs for forever till she was about 5 years old, man. And then she would not tolerate no dogs, male, female, strange, nothing, bro. And like, it just, it's like a light switch sometimes. So I would give it till I would say 3 years. Now, if you just want it specifically as a defense guardian dog, say like a sentry dog at a junkyard, for example, if that's like your most important thing, I would say get rid of it and buy an adult dog that's already proven. Now, if you want a dog, because here's the thing, people get puppies, we don't know what that woman did prior to that year old to shut down the dog's drives. You know what I mean? We don't know if it was just raw genetic potential, or if it had already had those drives suppressed in different ways. So I would say give it to at least 3 years old for maturity and then decide. Or if you really just have to have a protection dog, you don't want just the torso because you love the breed and you want a pet, then you get rid of it and get another one. Rehome it, get another one. Does that answer the question?
No, yeah, I'm glad you.
Okay. I mean, that's a good point too.
That's a good point.
Right.
There's so many people. Jalik, man, like I said, man, it's project season, man. I wanted to get on with you for at least an hour.
Nah, you good though, bro.
Be up first thing in the morning.
Nah, you good though. You spent the hour. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get out of here. Keep supporting my boy, man. Good talking to y'all. Nice meeting you, bro.
Likewise.
We're gonna continue this. Yeah,
I'm gonna keep an eye out on your dogs. I didn't hear anything about your how's your Danger and Aries pup turning out, man. I didn't get to hear any of that. I was excited to see. I haven't seen any of those dogs yet.
She's all right. She all right. I'm still working with her. She's all right.
Was she what, about 6-8 months old at this point?
No, she a year. Yeah.
Oh, a year. Okay.
She got that slow mature.
Be patient. Be patient, man. The masters take a long time to mature. Yeah. They take a long time to mature a lot. So be a little patient if you want to, man. Now, if you and if not, maybe you have to rehome it. That dog certainly has some fire. Doesn't mean she would produce it. I said, I haven't seen it yet.
For sure. She checked.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, just maybe not. She just ain't exactly your cup of tea, particularly, or It's the thing we get with dogs when we have certain dogs, man. You start to compare them to each other. You get favorites. It's natural. You get favorites. You like this particular dog. You start comparing them. You're like, oh, this dog don't match up to this dog, and subconsciously, even if it isn't consciously, sometimes we start to be like, oh man, I don't like this dog so much. Even if the other dog wasn't in the picture, you'd probably like it a lot more. So hopefully she works out for you, but give her some time, man. At least 18 months before you even start working.
She's a good dog.
Cool. Pleasure to meet you, man.
I don't know. Ninja the star because he got here first, so that's why he the star.
Yeah. That's that bulldog blood in him.
He just be doing. Ninja he's entertaining for sure. But I will tell you, Gangster get more views than him though. But Ninja the star.
Gangster, yeah, because he's so
Patterdale. I love Patterdales.
People like little dogs.
Yeah,
I love Patterdales.
But yeah, man, it was good tapping in with y'all.
Hey, God, I appreciate you coming through, man. Appreciate you coming through, man.
For sure.
Peace. So BJ, you switching your name up. You gotta
No, so here's my thing. My original YouTube moniker was this one here, Crybaby the Sinologist. My name is Brian. And then, at birth, my mother wasn't a very intelligent woman and she had a little bit of dyslexia. So on my birth certificate, she left the R out of my name. So when they wrote it down, they just spelt it B-Y-A-N. Brian. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Yeah. And then I got it changed at one point to a new copy, but once the original, that's like the original always. So I lost that altered copy at one point in time, and then I was 16 years old. I was trying to get my driver's license, and they said, oh, you got to have your birth certificate, and I wanted it to say Brian. My social security card says Brian, but they wouldn't allow that, so I just left it, and I've never had a problem. So YouTube or Google or whatever changed my name to Brian Kleinbauer instead of Brian Kleinbauer at one point in time, so that's why the Brian came about or whatever. But this is the handle that I go by. Either way,
you on YouTube. You can create whatever name you basically want to do.
Yeah, I figured out how to do it, so that's why I've switched it back to Crybaby the Sinologist. That's that moniker there. I don't necessarily need everybody knowing my name. I'm not trying to keep it hidden or whatever, but I'd rather go by a moniker or an alias.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're right.
Most people call me Crybaby, so that's just been like my whole life. Yeah.
So
that's what I go by.
You recommended being more patient. So I see that right there. So you definitely got a lot of patience in development. I never had a mastiff to see if they waited that long. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I never had one before. So shout out to you for the patience. Now, in her situation, that's kind of like, especially that's a safety issue too. So she might need a dog that's going to mature faster and show that faster. You get what I'm saying? She needs to buy
it sounds like she needs to buy an adult already trained dog.
Now that'll be the perfect situation right there. That's already trained. Yep.
I understand why people don't do that because it's a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a lot more expensive. So I understand why people don't go that route. But I don't like females having 100 and something pound dogs, man, for protection. It's just like, how big is, anyway, we don't need to get into that.
A lot of females is bigger. Like a lot of females be like,
well,
60, or they might
these
have
days. They don't have that strength though, bro. I've seen it too many times. I've seen Corsos walk. My Sentinel was about 75 to 82 pounds. 82 pounds, like conditioned when he was young and in his best shape, and then like 75 pounds conditioned as he got older and aged. But that dog, I was at nearly 300 pounds when I got him. He can move me around, no problem. The thing too with a lead, the leads give the dog extra leverage and the handler extra leverage. It goes both ways. So if you don't know how to handle a lead properly, like I saw you when you were training Chakra, when you took her out to work with the guys and whatnot, you weren't holding the lead properly, so she was moving you around. And you're a grown man. I don't know your size or whatever, but you're a grown man. And how much does Chakra weigh? About 90?
She like 85. Yep.
So say 85, and she was moving you around easy with that leash, right? And she wasn't even going like.
But yeah,
you're 180 pounds.
So all the female, a lot of that is technique too. So I don't want to discourage a woman out there, because a woman might need that. So, but you are.
I just say that to be realistic. Man, people's feelings and wants.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just speaking.
Don't trump reality, bro. You know what I mean?
I'm just speaking that, because we gotta admit though, B, females is gonna get K9 So
I know, and it ain't right.
They gotta learn. They gotta learn how to handle them, which is like technique and certain things like that. So you can't. They still gonna get them. So it's not like
no, unfortunately, but just because they're going to doesn't make it right. So that's why I speak out against it. And again, that's just my opinion. You know what I mean? Nobody has to listen to me, but I'm asked for my opinion, so I'm giving my opinion, if that makes sense. That's all it is. And like I said, I've just seen it, man. It's dangerous. A truly protective K9 Corso in the hands of a female that can't. Not to say, again, there's exceptions to every rule, but we don't make arguments for exceptions. At least I don't. We shouldn't, in my opinion.
What's your experience? What are some protection dogs that would fit your criteria for women in their size? That's going to do protection to protect them. First of all, do you think it's cool for a female to have a dog that's protective? If
of
so,
course.
What are some breeds that you would recommend?
Of course, I would recommend it. Again, it just depends. There's not one factor. What else? The rest of their lifestyle matters. Where do they live? What size of car or vehicle are they going to be traveling? You know what I mean? It depends. Do they want a dog that scares a threat away? Because there's different types of protection.
Dog that'll protect them. So you said
do they want a dog?
It's too big. So
well, listen. Bro, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm getting frustrated because people keep asking questions on this channel without enough specificity. You're asking very vague questions.
No,
protection. What type of protection?
Let's get this right. Right. Let's stay on the same page. Right. We're talking on the internet. It's people coming in. We just want to know if K9 Corsos is too big for a dog. What are some breeds that you recommend? That's it. That's it. Okay,
so here's some. I'm just trying to give good recommendations. If you just want specifically some breeds, I would say keep it. I would say keep it under 75 pounds.
Okay.
I would say get a dog that has more of a defense drive than a high fight drive and a prey drive. I would say, I love Airedale Terriers for that. Kerry Blue Terriers can sometimes do it. Yeah. Australian cattle dogs can sometimes do it, but like I said, you can train almost any breed to do it. German Shepherds, smaller German Shepherds can do it. I don't like to recommend Malinois or Dutch Shepherds, even though they could do it. And again, there's some females. I've seen some female handlers that do extremely well with Malinois under great mentorship from good trainers and whatnot. Other breeds that can do it would be, I don't like to tell them Rottweilers, but Rottweilers, Dobermans.
So how big Dobermans? So Rottweilers, are they? You think they just as strong as a Corso or no? You think there's what you think?
If the weight's similar, but Rottweilers should never be the same size as the Corso. Rottweilers are supposed to max out about 90 pounds, but nowadays you see some real big Rottweilers, which
Yeah.
I don't agree with the real big Rottweilers. It's been altered for, whatever reason. But a Rottweiler see, Rottweilers are extremely rank driven dogs too, particularly males. So females, unless they really understand dogs and dog behavior, or they've bought the dog already trained, Rottweilers are probably going to be a disaster for a lot of females. If a male, say a 85, 90-pound Rottweiler starts to try to establish dominance over a female, if there isn't a male there to shut it down, it's going to be bad news, bro. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Airedale, like I said, Doberman Pinschers. See, now Doberman Pinschers can get a little bit larger, but they're not typically as strong or like as drivey. So they're a little bit more controllable, and they're very intelligent. You got to look at frame too, leverages. Shorter, squattier, wider dogs can create a lot more leverage against a human body pulling against you or creating force than a tall, lanky dog typically will. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So the lower to the ground they get, that's why you see dogs when they fight, they go down low. Dogs, when they get a hold of a hog, they squat down real low to use their body on a low leverage to control things, because it creates way more force. The taller up you get and higher away from the ground, the less stability they have to resist force or to generate force, if that makes sense.
Right.
So American Bulldogs can do it, depending. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. Alapaha Blue Blood Bulldogs, some of them can do them, but most of them are too brachycephalic, in my opinion, for true protection dogs. But again, my opinion of a protection dog is different. I think a lot of dogs will control 99.9% of situations with their presence and a real good, what I call like a guard alert, like a threat response, where they start barking and showing like, hey, if you come over here and do anything, I'm going to mess you up. That's going to deter the vast majority of people. But for those individuals that, might be like, oh, they're trying to, hate to say this word, but like, we'll say grape a woman, SA a woman. They're trying to, like do something real serious to a woman, or really like a crazy ex-boyfriend or drug addict or something like that.
Right.
I mean, a good trained bulldog, would probably be the best bet. I like Airedale Terriers a lot too.
I like those. Those are like one of the most slept on. I see
they're slept on.
Yeah, I heard those are nice right there.
Yeah, they're good dogs, man.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of other breeds that could do it as well, but I mean that's enough of a list, I think. Because again, the look is a large part of the deterrent too. So a lot of those dogs I named, they look scary to people and they have reputations. You know what I mean? A lot of people are afraid of German Shepherds, even if they just see a German Shepherd, especially those dark black sable German Shepherds, like a lot of the Czech dogs are, or completely all blacked out German Shepherd. Especially if you don't see the white around their eyes, you just see that dark brown eye, man. I don't know what it is, bro, but it looks a lot scarier. Body language, dog's body language. You can read as a person when a dog's serious typically, or when they're not. Tosa Inu, but that's a big dog. I wouldn't recommend a Tosa Inu for a female.
I'm glad you brought that up, because certain dogs are super powerful and strong.
Right.
Certain dog. Even Lee brought that up because he was like, certain Sentinels is too big, so we get like a smaller dog for his wife, and it's about handling them. So that's why like the big dogs.
Right, and his daughter, etc. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for them, man. And I'm not trying to put down females or discourage them. I just want them to be realistic, because the wrong dog in a female's hands is as dangerous as the person they're trying to protect them from. That they want that dog to, you know what I mean? That's why I say that, man. It's because I care. And it's not right to the dog too. Like I said, to expect a 1-year-old dog to be a protection dog isn't right, man. That's not fair to the dog. It's not. The vast majority of dogs are not that. There are some, but the vast majority of dogs are not ready to really protect at a year old mentally, let alone physically. You know what I mean?
So that lady that lived in that neighborhood, you think her best solution is to buy an already trained protection dog? But
yeah, that's what I would. But again, can she afford it? She might not be able to afford it's an expensive, it's expensive, man. So how much training had the dog received prior to Aaron showing up and doing that? You know what I mean? What I was trying to convey is that coming over, making noise, and the dog not barking is not an excuse to just abandon a dog's potential. It's not an excuse to abandon that dog's potential.
he went inside of the yard and took he basically stole the dog.
Right. It's a 1-year-old. It's a 1-year-old puppy. It's a puppy. It's a 1-year-old puppy, bro. It's not
amazing, bro. Your patience is amazing, and I respect that too. Your patience, because there's levels. Because I get it, but if you can just come in there and take the dog, like that's a little different. And then it's like, okay, it's
had the woman been socializing that dog with strangers, or did she keep it away from strangers? Did she shut down? Did that dog show a bit of alertness and suspicion and aloofness prior, and she overcame that because she wants people to be able to pet it and be able to, does she take it out in public, or is it strictly a property guardian? All those factors matter. All those factors matter. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm just saying, don't judge it off of that one particular situation. Just because he was able to walk in that day and do it doesn't mean that that's not a potentially good dog. But to me, it sounds like they started too young. She needs to have a genuinely, I'm not saying any disrespect to Aaron. I don't know what his background or his skill levels are or anything of that nature, but I would have a genuinely skilled agitator that really knows how to read a dog, especially one at a year old. They know what they need to see from them and then see. And again, you can't dismiss a dog off of one session, especially if that was its first session. If that was the first time that ever experienced that, you can't call that dog a dud because of that, man. You know what I mean? It's not right. So, but again, it's her dog. If she's, you have to be comfortable with it. At the end of the day, she has to be comfortable that, hey, but I think she's unrealistic in her expectations, like we were talking about on, a couple other ones. I think those are unrealistic expectations, and she's only doing that dog harm. Now, say she rehomes that dog's going to go to somebody else, have to learn a whole new family, establish a whole new pack structure. It's going to be labeled a failure. It's going to be labeled a dud. Like you were saying before, how was she speaking life into that dog? You know what I mean? Attitude, body language, all that stuff matters. Maybe she was disappointed. You know what I mean? Did she react in a fearful manner? Sometimes that dog just might not have been afraid for itself. It might not have been afraid of what he was doing. So it might have not felt threatened, and it wouldn't bark. You know what I mean? It might have been comfortable with him just grabbing it and walking away. You would want that, but
sure.
Bro, you can go in and take Rottweilers. You can go in and take trained guard dogs. You know what I mean? I've gone in and done with my own dogs, had people and done it with other people's dogs. You go in, you toss a bone. Has it had training to ignore distractions like that? Toss a bone. The dog cares more about that bone. And then all of a sudden it ain't doing the job that it would have done if that bone wasn't involved in the scenario. So that's all I'm trying to say. Like, you know what I mean? We can't make these blanket statements off of such a little bit of context, man. We can't do it.
And that's why we have a discussion here. I'm with my man, Crybaby, the sinologist, aka Brian, the historian. So with that situation right there, Brian is patient. So shout out to you for patience, because most people are not going to be that patient.
I understand.
Most people are not going to be that patient. So let me ask you this. When can you say, since we're talking about whose fault is it if a dog, we talk about protection, they can't protect and they let you down. When is it the dog's fault?
Never. It's not, unless you want to count the dog's genetics being its fault.
No, we talking about a dog that got, because we know a nervy dog that's all scared and skittish ain't going to be able to do it. They get called out the program. But we
it's not the dog's fault.
So you say
never the dog's fault.
Oh, wow. Can you,
in my opinion?
Yeah, go ahead and break that down. Go break that down. Yeah, go ahead.
So all the dog can give you is what its genetic potential is, what its inherited traits are, and then what it's been taught. That's all that dog can give you. The dog doesn't decide like, oh, I don't feel like protecting today. Oh, you know what I mean? I don't feel like protecting you today. You didn't give me an extra milk bone today, so I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? Dogs don't do that. It's not the dog's fault. Dogs that are properly trained and properly bred, they're going to do it. And then it's environmental.
All the scenarios is hypothetical. So we're talking about dogs that was a German Shepherd, a Rottweiler, like a scent. We're talking about that. We're not talking about like a dog that wasn't. We're not talking about a lab that's not genetically designed to do that. So you're saying that a dog. So it's basically the handler fault. 9 times out of 10, it's the handler fault that they not performing.
Or the breeders. The breeder, I mean, again, not every dog, regardless. You
Hold
could
on.
have the
This
two.
so you can clear the picture up in your mind. Hypothetically, the dog is genetically. So we're saying that the genetics are there.
It's got that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then it's strictly on the owner, handler, and trainers. Whoever the trainer is, it's on them to bring that dog to reach its potential.
So let me ask you,
in my opinion,
you saying that. So if that's the case, then B. So you saying that? Let me see. So you're saying that every so do you feel like certain picks of, say if you got 10 puppies, you feel like all of them that all of them have good genetics, they all could be able to perform at the same level? Do you feel like it's some can perform better than others?
There's always going to be better performers. There's never going to be a litter that's all complete. I don't believe in equality outside of mathematics. I don't believe that there's equality outside of mathematics.
Okay.
Equal doesn't exist. There's going to be differences. They might be minute. They might be imperceptible to, the vast majority of people, but there are going to be differences. But it could be real close. Percentage wise, I'd say it's less than 2% that of litters of every breed, everything, that every puppy in the litter is going to be have equal potential. Let's say that, or basically just to say equal for the sake of this conversation, even though it's never equal for this that have the same potential. There's always going to be differences, but even Mr. Robinson, his lowest dogs in most of the litters I've seen, with the right trainer, can become adequate. You know what I mean? They're not going to be taught. They're not going to be breed worthy. They're not going to be worthy of being breedable, but they can do a lot of different types of protection, in my opinion, from what I've seen over the 20 years I've been watching his dogs. And I haven't seen them a lot. I haven't been there except for I see the videos that he posts, but I've watched them hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times each. You know what I mean? I evaluate them all. I look at the little things, because to me, the most important part, like I was saying the other day, is that period between 3 and 6 weeks, 16 weeks. I don't sell my dog. I don't like to see dogs leave at 7, 8 weeks. I understand why most people do it. There is good reasons for that, but I just don't think so, because like I was trying to explain last night in the chat, in that conversation with Sam, dogs establish with people their dominance hierarchy between 11 and 15 weeks. So if you send that dog out to a person that doesn't know how to establish the dominance hierarchy with people during that age, that's when you're going to have problems. Now, if it stays at a breeder that should know, if you're breeding dogs, you should know how to do that. You should be capable of reading that and establishing that during that time, and then you sell them, you're going to have a lot less problems. It doesn't mean it won't ever pop up again, but it'll eliminate 95% of that issue. You know what I mean? So there's all those sort of things that matter, but yeah, I would say it's the handlers and the trainers that screw it up every time. When you place blame on a dog, if you want to say that the dog, I hate to use that word, whose fault is it? Because I don't think it's the dog's fault, but you could blame the dog only in its potential. The limits of its potential, I would say. Okay, let me. If that makes sense.
That's on the protection side. We know we got workers that can do nose work and hunting. What about a litter of hog hunters? Do you think it's the handler's fault as well that they won't catch, or do you think it's the dog's fault that they won't catch if they're properly trained on that? Because we know that even then you got to be taught on that. What about for hog hunters?
I would say it's the dog's fault strictly, again, same exact thing, only in regard to genetic potential. And then it's the handler, trainer, whatever, fault is and responsibility to put the dog in the right situations at the right times, give them the right experiences to build them up. You can't take a young dog. I heard Sam saying he took a 9-month-old puppy out to hunt a hog. To me, that I would never do it. It worked out in that particular case. I would never do that. A 9-month-old dog should not be battling hogs, in my opinion. I don't understand the reason why. But again, that's him, and thankfully it was successful. Thankfully that dog's genetics were strong enough. And again, a 9-month-old dog, I guarantee you that there was nothing that he did that made that dog catch. That was strictly genetics. There wasn't anything that he did that got that 9-month-old puppy to catch, other than potentially exposing it to the right experiences, building its confidence. You know what I mean? Not diminishing its prey drive, not shutting down things like of that nature. And it's all it's genetic, man.
So if it's genetics that if it's genetics that they will bite, then are you saying it's genetics that they won't bite as well? Because you take another 9-month-old.
More often than not.
Genetics?
In almost every case, not all cases. There are times when the dog won't do it because maybe it was too heavy-handed. Maybe you were teaching it bite work or whatever, play work, and you shut those drives down. You can suppress them to the point where that dog is thinking the whole time, especially if it's handler sensitive, am I going to get in trouble for doing this?
Okay. So
you have to let the dog know. I don't like to put a lot of stuff on dogs, man. They don't need to be doing stuff prior to 18 months of age, man. Like, why? I mean, just fun, positive, everything fun, positive. Nothing negative.
So? Oh, wow. See, I got it. So what about bird dogs? See, they gotta wait till they 18 months too, and like bay dogs too, or like they do. There's not
a lot of negative things that could happen. Bird hunting and hog hunting are two different things. I ain't ever seen a bird dog get killed by a bird. You know what I mean? I've never seen a bird dog be physically harmed by a thing.
A person that hunts, you think they won't have a dog that can't perform the job though. They not gonna.
No, yeah, I mean, no. What you're doing with those dogs is you're assessing their ability prior to. I'm saying you don't rely on that dog. I'm not going to take even a bird dog. I'm not going to take a 6-month-old dog and expect. I don't know a lot about the bird hunting world, you know, like as far as like competition and things of that nature.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But I'm not going to take a 6-month-old puppy, 8-month-old puppy, 9-month-old puppy and expect it to do what an adult dog can do. Now, I want to see it having the potential to do that. I'm not saying they're incapable of doing certain aspects, but you have to ask yourself, why? Why not wait? You know, and again, protection training is something completely different. If you do protection training wrong, you can do a lot of damage. Bird dog training, there's not a lot of negatives in it. You know what I mean? There are some, but again, most bird dog people that are bird dog hunters, they're either good trainers, they're like very good trainers. They know how to work a dog, train a dog to do it, or they work with people that know how to do it. You know what I mean? So they're not going to mess their dogs up as often as people will in protection training. Or even in obedience training, unfortunately, but particularly in protection training, it's two different things. But again, bird dogs, they've been bred. There are very few breeds that have been specifically bred for protection work in this country for a very long time, man. Even overseas, it's a small percentage.
Right.
Hunting dogs, it's a lot more of them. They only do that. You know what I mean? Like they only do that. Yeah, so they have a lot more, but they just have better genes.
But like certain hunters, they definitely culling dogs though.
Right, because there's some that are better and some that are worse. You know, you don't want to breed the ones that are worse. Doesn't mean they can't hunt. They're just not going to hunt as good as their.
The ones that are worse. That's the dog's fault. You can't.
Why? It's the genetics fault. It's the genetic. The dog. Man, it's not, bro. I don't know how we. Anyway, you could have a different opinion than me. That's just my opinion. I don't blame the dog whatsoever. I say like, unless you're saying it's the dog's fault in regards to it doesn't have the genetic potential, or you know what I mean. Like I've never seen a dog with the genetic potential and the drives to do a specific task that just didn't want to do the task for whatever reason. There might be like one day they're not feeling good. They got injury. They've been overfed. They've been overfed.
I agree to disagree with you on that one because some dogs just ain't gonna do it, and then that's why they get called out the program because they know
because they don't have the potential. Those dogs don't have what it takes. Those dogs, it isn't their fault. It's the fact that they just don't have that potential.
Yo, shout out to BJ the historian. We having a good discussion right now. We not agreeing on everything. You see how we can handle this. Make sure y'all smash the thumbs up, right? Okay. So what about litter mates then? So if you got hunting dogs that's litter mates and one can do it and one don't, they do got the genetic potential because they're litter mates. They got the same.
Incorrect. Incorrect. Every single puppy in the litter has different genetics from each other. They're not all the same. They don't all ever. That's what I was saying earlier. They don't ever have the exact same potential. They have the same breeding. They're pulling from the same pool of DNA. But what comes out in the different puppies, some are very unrelated. That's why I was trying to explain to people in the chat last night about the pedigrees. Pedigrees are nothing more, absolutely nothing more than a written history of the dogs that were supposedly bred to produce the dog that you have in your hands. Okay. But now for an example, we'll take Preacher Man. Preacher Man could be in one of Lee's current dogs 25 times in the background, but they could not be even 50% Preacher Man. You know what I mean? Right. So they have all those other dogs that are influencing in it, and you never know which genes. I'm not that technical on that stuff like Mr. Robinson is. I don't know if he's in the chat, but he could jump in. He could jump in and say that. But what I'm saying is that they don't get the exact same genes. Every puppy in the litter, they don't get the exact same genes. They come out a little bit different. Otherwise, they'd all be uniform in color, all be uniform in height, all be uniform in weight, all be uniform in bite, all be uniform in eye color. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not the same. It's very similar, but it's not the same. It's just like siblings. I don't know if you have any siblings, but me and my siblings, we come from the exact same two parents, but we are vastly different physically, mentally, emotionally, intelligence-wise, all that stuff. We're vastly different from each other from the exact same two parents. So we don't have the same potential. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining that well or not, but hopefully.
Yeah, because I got brothers and sisters too. You're right about that, and I'm glad we got. It's cool. Like I said, I don't mind people having different viewpoints, because when I say it's the dog's fault, you can do everything you can. The dog just don't got it. So when we say fault, we mean the dog just don't got it. So
when I say fault, I'm placing blame. I say, what's the blame? And I don't blame a dog
because we're talking about the dog don't got it. Whose fault is it? It's the handler's fault, or it's the dog just don't got it. So that's what we mean. The dog don't got it. So the dog
they might not have that genetic potential.
Your fault. That's the same thing. That's the same meaning. You get what I'm saying? We're not.
It's different. Well, it's different. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but it's different when you say the handler or trainer, because the dog's being at fault in that case, and the handler and trainer being at fault in that case is two different type of faults. So it's not like it doesn't correlate. Is where I guess I'm getting confused. But yeah, I would say dogs will reach their if they have the potential and they have the right trainer and handler, they're going to reach their potential. But it's
so
there's so many.
If a dog doesn't work out, what do you call that? If a dog doesn't work out, you saying it's genetic?
It depends. Not always. Sometimes it's because the handler or the trainers or whatever messed it up.
So if the handler did an excellent job, and what's the next step? So the handler done everything they can, they done an excellent job. So what do you call that one?
That's then I would say that dog did not have the. Let's just say this: that dog did not have the necessary traits to do the work. Let's just say that. And you can call that the fault if you want to say fault in that case. And that dog didn't have the necessary traits, which I refer to as genetic potential, because the traits come from the genes. Okay. So if they don't have that, again, for example, I didn't see any. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see any of the other puppies from the litter that I got my Sentinel from. But my Sentinel himself, he may have had the potential, and I believe I messed him up, but he may not have. Okay, because I'm pretty positive. I don't remember if it was the second or the first breeding that Indy had. She might have only had one. I can't recall. It's been 20 something years ago now, 15 years rather. And I didn't get to see any, so I can't judge it off of that. I may have messed him up, but even with the messing, even with the failures that I had as a handler trainer, he still had the potential in a better trainer handler's hands, I would say, to be a better dog than he ended up being. So now if I say that dog is a failure, or that dog was at fault based off of the incorrect things that I did, I'm wrong. You know what I mean? So I can't say that. That's why I've never said that. there were times early on in the dog's life when I contacted Mr. Robinson and I said, listen, this dog isn't what I thought he was going to be. He's not what I was looking for. And he said, no problem, put him down and I'll replace him. But my family already loved the dog. My family already fell in love with the dog. And if I would have put that dog down and got another dog, I'd have been disowned from the family. So I chalked it up to a loss and I kept him to the day he died. And I was happy with him. I worked on other things. The dog was one of the most obedient dogs I've ever had. One of the most intelligent dogs I've ever had. He was very loving, very stable. He just had a little bit of weak nerves. And again, I don't know if that was because of me. He didn't have super high prey drive, but he had enough. And he had very low thresholds for defense, for his defense drive to come out, which I don't like. I like a little bit higher of a threshold to bring a little bit more of an intense stimulus than what he had for me. So it's just, you know what I mean? If that makes sense, that's just an example. Every dog, man, depending, if I would have took Jaguar, he would be a completely different dog in my hands potentially than he was in your hands or vice versa. You know what I mean? It really comes down to the trainer handler and the genetic potential of the dog. So place the blame.
What's your thoughts on epigenetics?
I don't know a lot about epigenetics. So I haven't studied it a lot. The environment. I know what it is. I just can't speak a ton to it. The raising is extremely important. The environment, like I said, it matters from the time the dog comes out of the womb. You know what I mean? It all matters in reaching the absolute maximum potential of that dog. So its experiences with its litter mates, was it bullied as a puppy? You know what I mean? By other dogs. That's why I also separate, like I was saying before, I separate my dogs earlier than most, because you can take a puppy at 6 weeks old that doesn't seem like it has any, say 7 weeks, because you don't really see a lot of working potential at 5-6 weeks. So let's say like 7 weeks is usually when it starts to come out. You can see a dog at 7 weeks old that doesn't seem like it's going to do a lot because it's in the mix. Like when Mr. Robinson works all of his puppies at the same time, if he was to work each one of those dogs individually on the same thing, you would see a lot different behaviors. You know what I mean? One that seems like they're not anything at that age could be the best. Same with runts. You know, you see some dogs are runts early. People think they're going to be tiny. They become the biggest dog in the litter. So there's so many different factors. Diet plays a role. What I was trying to get to before. Has your dog eliminated its bowels? Does it have a full belly? Is your dog in physically good shape? People don't have their dogs in shape. Being in physically shape, just like with people, when you're physically fit, you're a lot more capable of things than you are if you're a fat slob of a human being. No man at 300 pounds of 40% body fat is going to perform in a fight. It kills testosterone. Testosterone matters. That's a good you know what I mean? It kills it. Now, if your dog's really physically fit, it's going to be different. The type of food you feed, kibble versus raw, etc. There's so many factors that go into it. We can't place the blame on one specific thing. And you can't paint the full picture unless you know all those details of what happens. That's all I'm trying to get people to understand, if that makes sense, man.
Do you recommend do you recommend people that get their dog once they fall in love with the dog to not return it? What's your recommendation for people that's buying working dogs?
I think at the end of the day, what's most important is they need to be happy, and they need to be happy with the dog. Because if you're not happy with the dog, it is unfair to keep it, in my opinion. Find it a better home. Because like you said, I mean, I know you understand that. If you're unhappy with that dog is never going to reach its full potential. If you don't like that dog, it could be for any reason. I've seen people that don't like the way a dog looks. You know what I mean? And they might not even be consciously realizing it, but subconsciously they have something against that dog. And that bond and that relationship between that person and that dog will never be what it should be over something silly like that. You know what I mean? There's just a million different factors. I'm sorry, what was the question you asked me?
I would have to rewind.
Oh, we're talking about environmental things. So there's different. Okay, so yeah. So what was the temperature that day? Was it extremely hot?
Yeah.
Had the dog been free?
No, here's what it was. I asked you, should a person return the dog or not?
Oh,
If should they return a dog that doesn't like if they buy a dog and they don't protect, should they return it or should they just hold on to it? But you said that they just have to like the dog. Yeah.
I think that they should return the dog if they're unsatisfied with the dog, because otherwise they're going to be unfair to the dog, whether they know it or not. They should either exchange it, get a different dog. But that being said, 99.9%, I think that that's not right to the dog, but it's often better because
what you feel. So you feel like a person
because
that have a lifetime.
It depends on the timing. It depends a lot on the timing. Sometimes it can go to a much better situation, in which case that is great for the dog. But 99.9% of the time, a person that's just going to get rid of a dog like that, they're not going to get it to the right home. If they return it to the breeder and the breeder finds a better home, you never know with anybody. You never know with any dog putting it into anybody's situation. As a breeder, that's one of the main reasons I haven't gotten back into breeding yet, because it's so difficult to find dog owners that are up to my standard of what I would want for one of my dogs, and you can just never know. It really is a gamble. So in that particular case, I think the dog should be rehomed. However, it's still going to have some sort of a suffering. It's going to be more difficult going into that new home for that dog to bond the same way as it did with the first family. You know, there's certain times, like I said, there's certain times in that dog's life where it bonds the best with an individual. And even like I said, being that I like to keep my dogs till at least 16 weeks, if not longer, if I get back into breeding, I'm keeping all my dogs until I either know they're not going to make the cut as a breeder or they're 2 years old, and then I'm selling them off.
So you're going to keep your dogs till they're 3 years old? Because you said you was going to wait to
not three, but I don't believe that I'll have dogs that are 3. I might keep some.
You said 18
I might
months,
keep
though. Early you said
18 months. 18 months is typically when the vast majority of dogs are old enough mentally to really be able to tell, is what I'm saying. Okay. Most, not all, but most. And I think with Sentinels, I think that you can confidently know, and I'm not going to get any other dogs other than Sentinels ever again. I don't want any other dogs ever again. I shouldn't say that. Very unlikely that I'll have another dog other than a Sentinel ever again. So I think that the vast majority, but even with Sentinels, because of the way they've been bred, and even though Lee's been breeding them for 20 plus years now, there's still, you see that there's tons of variation. There's some that are a lot more Mastiff, some that are a lot more Bulldoggy, some that are in the middle. So you have to base it off the individual dog. But I would give them at least until I'm an experienced enough person too to know, like, okay, this dog isn't going to meet my requirements. But I would say for the average person, when I was saying that before about the woman with the Connie Corso, I guarantee you she didn't know what she was doing. So she doesn't know, like, she can't say like, oh, I know that you need to wait till the dog's mature enough. Yeah, she didn't know that.
Just inexperienced. Yeah,
inexperienced.
A lot of owners be inexperienced. They just don't know. That's why they come to the young. You're right.
So yeah, I'll keep them and then if I see that I don't think that they're going to be good enough to be breed worthy, I would eliminate them from the program. I would alter them physically and place them into a home. But I won't let any of my dogs, I don't like to let them leave, especially going into the future, if they haven't been obedience trained. I think that's the number one biggest problem, is that the vast majority of people have zero clue about how to properly obedience train a dog. And that's the biggest thing. So I would be much more comfortable putting an older dog that would have to adapt to a new family environment into a home. And I would expect them to be a lot more successful than sending a 7-8 week old puppy to a home without being properly trained by myself or, any other breeder if they did it properly. And expecting success in that regard. Again, it depends on what you want from the dog. If you want the dog to be a protector, again, there's different type of protection. Do you want the dog to protect your property?
Yeah, we understand there's different types, but so you want your dog to be a protection? Go ahead.
Yeah, if you want it to protect your property, that's different than it protecting your physical person. You could have an excellent property protector that might not be a great physical person protector. You know what I mean? Because what's required for a property protector is territoriality. It's different than the type of defense of
most females probably want the territory, a century, because they say a single female, they're gonna want their home in there when they out. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking.
A lot of females are that way. Males can be as well, but males in wild canines, males far more often join other packs or go out and create their own packs. Females almost always stay within their own pack, almost always. It's different with domesticated canines, but I'm just trying to make a point. It's different. So there's different levels, and then obviously different breeds, different. Let's take German Shepherds, for example. If you get a good Czech style German Shepherd, the vast majority of them are going to be very territorial. Not the case with most of the American dogs. A lot of those American dogs, it's a lot less because they haven't been bred for that. You have to select for those traits. If you're not, and it disappears like that, you can lose it literally in one generation. You have to have it, or you have to find it to bring it back in. And I see these people again talking about the pedigrees constantly, pedigree. It matters the traits. Are you finding a specific male or female that are prepotent for throwing those traits? The individual dog might have the trait you're looking for, but they might not throw it. They might throw it with one dog. They might not throw it in the second mating. So it just depends. And there's no absolutes in the dog world, man. And too many people think in absolutes like black and white. That ain't the case. That's what I'm trying to get across to people. There's so many factors. So, yeah. Here's what I would recommend. If you want a protection dog, buy a dog that is already trained for it. If you can't afford that, then get one from proven parents and take the chance. Give it its time. Find a good trainer beforehand, because again, I don't want to keep throwing percentages out there because they're inaccurate. Let's just say the vast majority of people do not have the skills to bring a dog to their maximum potential. The average person that wants a dog to be a guardian dog, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? They can't bring that. They can't maximize that dog's potential. And then if that dog doesn't do what they expect it to do, they're going to blame the dog, even though the dog was not at fault. It was their fault for not being able to bring that out of the dog. You can't just expect a dog to just be a protector. You know what I mean? It's not. Can you find some? Sure. You can find some, again, that might meet your needs, but you'll never fulfill the maximum potential. Is what I'm trying to get at, of that dog's capabilities in those environments.
Okay. So, since you wasn't on here yesterday, I want to hear you speak more on the pedigree stuff too, because that's a hot topic. Because I see what Diamond Grip was doing. They was like, how do you take? Diamond Grip was explaining how certain dogs that he was getting wasn't performing, so he couldn't really use them. But I also understood it that even within those dogs that he was getting, he got the ones that perform, and then you breed those ones. So speak on that when you talk about the prepotency and the traits.
Correct.
Speak on the traits part.
That's why I said a lot of respect to him. He don't give his dogs out with breeding rights. I love that a lot. But yeah, so just to stay right on exactly that. Say he got we'll just call it male A, and he has female A. You breed those two dogs together. They both do the work. They both have the potential. They're both showing the traits. You make that breeding. Maybe none of their litter mates had it. Maybe none of their ancestors had it. There are anomalies. You don't want to breed off anomalies. But if you don't have any other option, you start with the best to the best. Then you select from that litter. See, when you're doing that, it's extremely important to keep either the entire litter yourself or to have competent people to raise the dog, so you truly know what the results are. Yeah. Because you don't know. If you don't hold on to the dogs or have competent people to place the dogs with, you'll never know what you're truly producing. Facts. So you keep the best of what you have, you breed that, and either what they call nicks, which means it worked, that breeding clicked, or it doesn't. And that doesn't mean that either the male or the female can't produce good. It just means that particular mating didn't work. So you might try another dog, but typically you're going to know pretty quick whether or not they're throwing the traits that you want. No individual dog is going to have every trait that you want to have. So you have to start getting selective. All right, I need this dog. You want to do complementary breedings. Whatever the male's strong, especially when we can get into it later, not particularly in this video, but this is one of the topics I wanted to do with you. There's ways to keep track of that stuff over time if you do it the right way, but I don't like to discuss that a lot because I don't want to give out my secrets. I'm not one of those type of people. It's like,
so why you gatekeeping now?
Because if I start breeding,
you said you're not breeding
at the moment, but I will give do not throw your pearls before swine. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
You gotta give Jaguar and Band Dog some information where they can say, okay, you gotta give a little. You don't gotta give everything.
Okay.
But give a little something, man.
Structure matters. You have to know what you're looking at. If you don't know what you're looking at, if you don't know what the traits are, how they're displaying themselves, what type of stimuli is necessary to elicit those behaviors, then you're not going to be successful. But let's stick with the pedigree stuff because that's extremely important. So like what he's doing, he's breeding the best to the best of what he has and then selecting as he goes. Now he's going to determine, okay, whether that male, let's say prey drive, because prey drive is one of the most important things for hog hunting, and he's doing hog hunting. So he's selecting for prey drive. Maybe he wants, you can have, okay, so day one starting out, his male A, he's assessing at a level 9 prey drive, he said. What was his name? Knight, was it?
Yeah, he had Knight. He had a couple.
Okay.
One of was Knight, yeah.
We'll just use Knight as an example. Knight has a level 9 prey drive, and he bred it to, I remember him saying a female's name, Ursa. He bred her to Ursa. Ursa might not have a 9 prey drive. She might have a 6 prey drive, okay? But she might have a sire or a dam or a grandsire that had a 9. And that dog also may be in Knight's pedigree. And when those two are bred together, those genes might match up to produce 9s in the puppies, if that makes sense. Knight might have a 9. He may never throw a 9. He may never throw a 9 because the dogs behind him weren't at a 9 and he was that anomaly. Like he said, the other dogs in the lineage were not good. He happens to be an exception. So that's not a good stud dog. I'd rather take a dog that is a 7 and throws 7 to breed because I know I'm getting 7s and I can stay there. And vice versa. If you don't know, this is the reason, another reason I'm going to stay with the Sentinels, because I've seen the dogs for 20 years. I've seen all the dogs, not all the dogs, puppies wise, but at least the dogs that Mr. Robinson has bred, used in his breeding program. I've seen them. So I already know what those dogs' traits are.
Right.
All the way back. You know what I mean? So I can say
some good points.
Like,
I never even knew you used to breed. So I'm learning.
Yeah.
I've been on,
yeah. I was young. I mean, I'm not saying I was an excellent breeder. I was young, but I produced some good dogs, man. I would say with my bulldogs, I probably produced about maybe 14 litters, which let's just throw a rough number out there. Let's just say 100 puppies. You know what I mean? Yeah. But and then with the Shetland sheepdogs that my grandmother had, I was involved with, the vast majority of those, but I wasn't making decisions on them. You know what I mean? I was just involved in living in the home at the time that they were being bred. So I've been around a lot more litters in that regard. But I've been studying this stuff since my entire life. I'm 45 years old. I've been studying, dogs. That's why I call myself a cynologist. I don't ever call myself an expert, but I've been studying dog behavior, dog breeding, dog training, all of that stuff. And for me, I've never gotten to the level of, I don't have the capacity mentally to remember the terminology and all that stuff and regurgitate it like Mr. Robinson does. He's got that down pat, but I have a lot of that same understanding.
You do have the capacity. You're a human, so you have the capacity, but you just gotta come up with.
Let's say this then. I haven't found the right way to consistently do that yet. Let's say that.
Yeah,
because I've been tested. I've had my IQ tested at UCLA, and I'm not saying this to be a braggart or anything like that, but I tested at IQ of 154. So I know that my inherent intelligence is there to do just about everything. But again, intelligences are different. So you know what I mean? Some people have extreme intelligence and abilities in one specific area and not so much in another. And
right.
I have a very analytical mind. My mind runs extremely well off of numbers, but like remembering words and definitions and things like that is a lot more. And then conveying my thoughts. Obviously, I ramble, I mumble, I say multiple sentences constantly. You know what I mean? My thoughts are just like in my head. So anyhow, let's go back to the pedigrees. Let's keep on that. This is the first thing I want to say. Pedigree is. People need to get this into the head. A pedigree is nothing more than a written record of the dogs that were supposedly used to produce the dog that you have. It doesn't tell you anything. 99.9% of the time, there's certain things that I do with pedigrees that I'm not going to give out though. I'll tell you, but I'm not going to tell the rest of the world that you can do a lot better with them. They mean a lot more in that regard is what I'm trying to get at. But if you don't know the dogs in the background, especially with like bulldogs, man, everybody wants a fancy name or a working title, and that doesn't mean anything. I've seen Mr. Robinson with the Lucky 7 blood. He's, he said 18 times or whatever it is, Mayday, but that doesn't mean anything. People think that just because Mayday's in that blood 18 times, there hasn't been almost any dog specific individual stud dog whose name has been run through the mud and the bloodlines watered down any more than Mayday. You know what I mean? Or Red Boy Jocko. It's like one of those catch terms that just, everybody's like, oh my God. But anyway, those dogs, it's different. Anyways, again, Lucky 7 was an anomaly. How many of those dogs that he bred became 70-pound male dogs, or 65-pound male dogs? You know what I mean? There was very few. He himself was an anomaly. So you can't base that off of that.
Yeah, I don't know how many pit bull breedings he did. Maybe 2. I know he done Wonder Girl that created Komodo, but I don't know his pit bull breedings. Yeah, I don't know his pit bull.
No, breedings. So he did Stone Cold to Wild Thing, which produced Lucky 7 and Wonder Girl. Those were the 2 dogs that he held back. Then he bred those 2 together, got Komodo, hung on to Komodo, kept Lucky 7. Then he bred Lucky 7 to Komodo, I believe. And
he did. So he did do.
I think one time, but I don't think he held on to any of those dogs. I don't think any of those. I believe, I could be mistaken, but I believe he did. But then he used Komodo to obviously to breed to Frankie Bomb, as well as who else? I know Mr. Keating tried to use her for a couple of breedings, but anyhow, I don't think she ever had. I think there was a couple of straight pit bull breedings attempted with her, but I don't know if they ever produced, because I think she was old at that time. But I can't remember. Komodo, correct. I think she was a little old.
The Frankie Komodo breeding happened 2 or 3 times.
I think 3 times, I believe. 3 times.
Banty, Bakodi, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And so of those dogs, the dogs that I have any knowledge of, as far as working potential, is Abyss, which was double. Well, that wasn't directly Frankie to Komodo. That was Frankie to Frankie Komodo. That Mr. Temple has. Anyhow, the point I'm trying to get at is only a couple of those dogs have even been evaluated as well. There's a guy that has a male CPK Kennels. I've seen him in the chat a couple of times. I believe his dog is named Ayo Ghost. He's a pretty big male. He looks a lot like Komodo. He doesn't look like Lucky 7. He looks way more like Komodo. Except for he's pretty good size. He's big. There's a gentleman named Levy that Mr. Robinson sold some of his bulldogs to, some of his sorrels dogs, as well as he also has a dog that was out of the Frankie and Banshee breeding. So double Frankie with Komodo. We saw one video of a dog named Fergus, who was a Frankie Komodo dog. Extremely athletic. I don't know if you've ever seen that video. Fergus, it says your kung fu is good or strong.
I think I've seen some dogs jumping on the thing, because I know
that dog.
That does, yeah.
So that's all we've seen of those. So we don't know how they turned out. But he was, I want to say, a 55-pound dog, but he was nowhere the size of Lucky 7. So that's all I'm trying to illustrate. That point is that you don't always get that. Just because Lucky 7 was a sire doesn't mean you're getting Lucky 7. It could be, especially with. So now there's. I'm sure you've talked about it before, but you have different types of breedings. You have inbreeding, which would be the tightest inbreeding is going to be full siblings. That's going to be the tightest you can get genetically to each other. And then you have half siblings, you have father to daughter, you have mother to son. Then you start going, you know what I mean? And then you have what's called again, different definitions. People have different terms. I still consider it inbreeding if you're doing uncle to niece or grandfather to granddaughter, but I would call that a loose inbreeding as opposed to a tight breeding. Then you have line breeding. What I would consider line breeding is if you're breeding 2 separate dogs that are from the same line, as far as say you have
cousins, or you talking about
further
cousins?
way further apart than cousins. Way further apart than cousins. They just have the same dogs in the background, but they haven't been bred up. here's the thing about genetics. The most important dogs are the first 3 generations. So sire, dam, grandsires and granddams, and great grandsires and great granddams. The dogs behind that don't have a ton of influence on giving the genes to that individual litter or puppies. So really you want to focus on those first 3 generations of the absolute most important. And obviously it gets less important the further you go back. And again, it also depends on how it's made up. But, you know, you can say that the first 3 generations are what you want to look at. So you could have, and then there's going to be percentages. You could have, I think Mr. Robinson, some of the dogs that he did were like 80+% just Lucky 7 in the matings that he did, trying to reproduce dogs of his size. And again, I'm speaking just from memory. So if I'm incorrect, I apologize. But I think that he got close to like, maybe even like 87.5% Lucky 7 if he bred Lucky 7 to Komodo. It would have been extremely high on Lucky 7. But again, that doesn't mean you're getting Lucky 7. You're just getting closer to it. You're stacking those traits. You're increasing the probability of the same ingredients in the soup to come out to create what you want. But so to get back to line breeding would be like, let's say a red boy Jocko is a line, right? And you have various dogs. So like Mayday was a red boy Jocko. You have dogs like Carolina Kennels Champion Termite is red boy Jocko. You have dogs like
let me get this right. So that wouldn't be outcrossing?
No, sir. It's the same line. Outcross is completely separate lines, completely different lines. So outcrossing would be like
Sorrel's the red boy would be an outcross.
Correct. That's an outcross breeding. However, a lot of the same dogs are still in there, but they're far enough back that it doesn't matter. Like when Mr. Robinson did the Frankie Bont to the Komodo breeding, that is an outcross breeding, but it is, or let's use a better example, is when he used that chunk dog of Mr. Parker's. That's more of a line breeding because the foundation was almost identical. So even though it was bred differently, you go back, it's the same genes in the beginning. So it's fine lines. And again, it depends on what's produced forward, but an outcross is between 2 different lines. Or sometimes then you have crossbreeding, which is 2 different breeds, like the original of the Sentinel. So you have like an English Mastiff in Eclipse bred to Captain Skip in a Bulldog. That's a crossbreeding, a crossbred litter. So that's something entirely different too. What you get with crossbred litters is what's called heterosis, or sometimes people call it hybrid vigor. And what it does is it creates a better dog, typically health-wise, a lot of times performance-wise, than type breeding does, like than inbreeding might. But then it's not going to be consistent.
Okay, can you use an example of what something on Lee's yard would be called? Like, can you use an example? Because that's my
of what
what you just said. Hetero, with the word you just used, hybrid vigor.
Preacher man.
Preacher man. He's himself. So you saying Eclipse
and his siblings. So that they showed.
So the Eclipse and Captain Skip breeding was an example of hybrid vigor.
Well, it's an example of a crossbreeding which produced hybrid vigor because
okay, I got you.
Which is called heterosis, which creates a hybrid vigor. So it really people use that a lot in dogs, and it's really got to be different. Like I used to purchase semen I love performance animals of all types. So I've been into bucking cattle. I don't know if you ever watch like PBR, if you know what PBR is, bucking bulls. I've been following that since the 90s. My mother was a barrel racer, and she had a professional rodeo car for the PRCA. She used to be a professional barrel racer. So I grew up in that, watching bull riding since I was a child. And at one point in time, I started buying semen. It started to become really big. So I started buying semen and storing it to produce breedings. But there's a famous bull that's called Rooster, and I spent about $85,000 on Rooster semen. And I bred into a handful of cows out with a gentleman out in Oklahoma. And supposedly, I don't know if he's lying or not, I can't prove it, but none of those breedings took. Could have been the semen was just bad that I purchased, or he's lying to me. I thought he was a stand-up dude. I'm not going to say he was lying. I'd rather say that that the semen didn't produce. But after I made that mistake, I didn't have the funds to continue with that business. So I got out of it. But the reason I bring that up is, I don't know if you've ever heard of a bull called Bodacious. He was a cross between a Charolais bull, which is a French breed, and a Brahmin bull, which is a bull from originally from Africa. They're called a Zebu breed. Okay. So those are two. They're both cattle, but they're so different and tight that when you put them together, that really created hybrid vigor. That's what true heterosis is. Oh, it's not the same in dogs, but it does have that effect. So the example would be, let's say, Preacher Man, Gator, Bandit. I think there was a dog called Thin Ice from that breeding, if I'm not mistaken. But I never saw Thin Ice work ever. I saw a little bit of Gator. I saw 1 or 2 videos of Bandit, and then I saw a lot of Preacher, obviously. And those dogs performed in the role that they were intended, I would say, better than either Captain Skip or Eclipse would have. And again, Eclipse was a little bit of anomaly as far as I understand. I don't know for sure. I don't know the background on the dogs behind her, but I think she was, again, a little bit of anomaly. But so then here's what Mr. Robinson did. He took those dogs and then bred them back together, because when you start to do that, he did sibling breedings. He bred Preacher to Bandit. I believe, maybe not Bandit. He bred him to Gator for sure.
Preacher to Gator to make
I want to say it was None of It was the only one that he kept.
Yeah, None of It. And
None of It.
The Boss, because those, that's when they had those.
None of It was a nice dog. None of It was a very nice dog. Mm-hmm. So that's a full sibling breeding. But typically with full sibling breedings, the intention behind that is to lock the traits in. Like he just did one with Boomer and Scarlet. Okay, those are typically not going to perform as well as either of the parents because it's so tightly inbred.
Okay.
Typically, it doesn't mean that you can't get 1 or 2, but it's not going to produce across the whole entire litter. Typically, what you're looking for is exceptions. You're looking for those anomalies in those litters, and that's what creates the prepotency. And then, you know what I mean? So I don't know enough about Boomer or Scarlet to know like what they throw. I've seen a handful of Boomers, but I believe this is going to be Scarlet's first litter. So I haven't seen anything that she throws, but I know she's fast. She's intelligent. She's got a little bit of good defense in her, a little fight. I've seen her work, I think, at least one time by Aiden on a video. And I've heard him say, Mr. Robinson himself say several times. Can you guys still see me? It's getting dark in here. I can turn the light on if necessary.
I can see you. They had a question about BJ the Farmer got a question about Bam Bam and Banshee. I know that'd be a triple Frankie bump, because Frankie bump.
That's more of a line breeding than anything, because Bam Bam is Boomer and Miss Bandit, which are both off of Frankie Bump, and then Banshee is Frankie Bump and Komodo. So Komodo, I don't know the percentage off the top of my head, but she's at minimum, at maximum, she's 25% of that particular breeding, if that makes sense. Her gene pool is at max because she's not in the other side at all. She's not on Bam Bam's side at all. So she's 25% of that Banshee or Komodo. Komodo is going to be 25% of that whatsoever. So that's a low percentage, and the rest is going to be 75% of other stuff. But in that 75% of other dogs, you're going to have Frankie Bump up close 3 different times. So that's a line breeding on Frankie Bump, but it can also be considered inbreeding because they're like uncle and niece. If my, like just off the top of my head real quick, I believe they're uncle and niece. So that's also inbreeding, a loose inbreeding. But again, what's most important is if you're trying to breed Frankie Bump's traits in that, how close to Frankie Bump traits wise are either of those 2 dogs? If they're both very similar, it should clip to give you what you want. It depends on the purpose of the breeding. So that's Banshee, a good breed.
So Bam Bam will be the nephew of Banshee, because Banshee daddy is Frankie Bump, where Bam Bam, his grandfather, is Frankie Bump 2 times. So
so aunt and nephew.
Aunt nephew. Aunt nephew.
Yeah, so that's a loose inbreeding, which I like loose inbreeding. It typically works pretty good, but it just depends. It depends on the lines. You know what I mean? We've seen with those dogs, Sorrel's dogs, they typically produce pretty darn good still, pretty high percentages of quality dogs, even when you keep them pretty tight, but you can't go too tight. When you start to go too tight, that's when the recessive genes that you don't, now you have dominant genes and you have recessive.
Right there. Yeah, because when I need you to stop and go, so Banshee is 3 times Frankie, right? When is it considered too tight? Is it 4 times Frank? When can you speak on that? Because I appreciate you giving up this information. Like I didn't even know you knew about this type of stuff. Why are you hiding information from me, my guy?
I'm not. I just you know.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So when is it considered too tight? Like, is it
in my opinion, it's only too tight when you start seeing negative results, too many negative results.
Okay.
Which I mean, so that's what I was starting to get to. You have dominant genes and you have recessive genes. Now, recessive is subordinate to dominant, obviously, but you don't necessarily, not all recessive genes are necessarily bad and not all dominant genes are necessarily good. So let's just use an example as like a super easy one would be like an underbite. You know, you want to push the genes that throw an underbite down in the thing by breeding dogs that don't have underbites. But typically when you go tighter and tighter, those genes are going to pop up in that they're going to come to the surface, if that makes sense. And then you're going to see a lot more the tighter you breed. When you breed more loosely, it suppresses them. That's that hybrid vigor I'm talking about, that heterosis. It creates a better dog. They're not as consistent, but they're typically better performers. That's why a lot of people like to do mutts, because mutts are typically a lot healthier. They're or let's just say in bulldogs, people, when you cross breeds or lines and stuff, they call them battle crosses, and they're going to typically be better performers than tightly inbred dogs are. But when you go to breed them, they don't throw what they are because they don't have the prepotency to throw their traits, if that makes sense. They don't have that built up prepotency in the genes to reproduce themselves typically. Again, there's exceptions. So I would say there's no such thing as too tight. I've seen people, I mean, Mr. Tom Garner, I'm sure you're familiar a little bit. I know you had that buddy that had that one dog of Garner's for sale. And that dog's a perfect example. That dog is extremely inbred, and you can see its feet are easty westy, and it has like splayed toes, and it has a super snipey muzzle. Now it was fast, it was drivey, so the drive can overcome that. But those slope patterns and easty westy feet and splayed toes, those are undesirable traits. Oh, okay. And that comes from inbreeding. So when those pop out, you cull those dogs. And the dogs that are produced that don't show those traits, those are the ones you take a chance on breeding. And you can get extremely tight, man. You can get extremely tight for 5-6 generations on brother sisters if you're selecting the right dogs. But you're not going to get big litters of all good dogs. You're going to get 1 or 2, and you have to keep them and select those ones to perpetuate the bloodline going forward. So you can have them extremely tightly inbred. I've seen 5-6 generations with not very many deleterious effects, but and then at the same time, you can make one breeding that's a brother sister and the whole thing's a disaster. It just isn't going to work. So again, it boils down to selection.
Because half siblings and full siblings is different, right?
Either way, but yeah, full siblings is what I was referring to.
Okay, because yeah.
But even half siblings, again, half siblings could be like Boomer. He's Frankie and Rosebud, and then a dog called Cayenne, which was out of Frankie and Miss Bull. Yeah. So they're half siblings, but Miss Bull and Rosebud basically have the exact same pedigree. It's just a little bit flipped. It's like the top side of one is the same as the bottom side of the other. They're like basically flipped. So they're really very similar dogs, but being half siblings, it is going to be better to breed those two together typically, but it depends on what they're prepotent for. What are the traits they're prepotent for, and what are the actual genes that they possess and throw? So, I can't get into every little detail because there's so many different factors involved.
We appreciate the information, because one thing about genetics, it's like a challenging. I ain't gonna say it's hard, but it's challenging, and it takes a lot of
extremely challenging.
Yeah, and I appreciate you giving us information, you sounded like Von Gonta House, because that's where I'll be hearing the prepotency and the hybrid bigger. That's Von Gonta House be using those terms when he's talking about genetics. So yeah, so shout out to
I'm not familiar with him. What is he breeding? Something German.
German Shepherds.
Oh, okay, yeah.
When I
German Shepherds.
Von Gonta House versus Lee, I wanted to see that genetics battle because both of them, you know, do the genetics. He be saying the same stuff about that, so I appreciate you.
So the thing about with German Shepherds is they're not, very few people do any inbreeding in German Shepherds anymore. They at best do line breeding and most often do outcrosses, because there's so many negative things that were bred into the German Shepherds early that they just want to suppress those and keep them down. So, but they've gotten the level of, depending on where you go, the level is, especially over in Europe, it's a lot better to where you can do more outcrossing and still produce really good dogs. But again, they're never going to produce the same as inbreeding will on good dogs. So, but they do that because they don't want, there's so many health problems in the breed. You can do it with performance bred bulldogs a lot more easily because they've been refined for so long, and the vast majority of the bad health stuff has been bred out of the breed because they were put through harsh testing before they were bred originally. Now, a lot of it's popping back up because people are breeding so indiscriminately now without any performance testing that it's becoming a problem again, and everybody's breeding off of pedigrees and names, and it's become a huge problem again. But for a very long time, you go to the right source and you're going to be able to breed as tight as you want on most dogs. But you will, like Mr. Robinson always says, you'll lose. You might have a female that produces, like on average, let's just say 8 puppies. That'll typically come down the tighter you go to, like, you might get 4 puppies, but they're going to almost be like clones typically. Again, never equal, but they'll be a lot closer to each other, but you'll only produce 4. And most people don't want that as breeders. They don't want to do that. So that's why they don't do it. You know what I mean?
But okay. So yeah, man. You definitely know your genetic. We got to call you Crybuddy the geneticist as well.
It's involved in sonology.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay.
That's Sonology is just the study of canines, okay.
Okay.
Kaino is the Greek word for dog, and logos is the, means study. So sonologist, canology, it's study of dogs, but it's all aspects, breeding, training, health, all of it. So that's what I call myself that.
As we come to an end, and once again, I appreciate you coming through on this beautiful Monday evening. I'll be back either probably on Wednesday or Thursday with another live. I've already done 2. My goal was at least minimum 3 a week. So Sunday I'll be back. I got a trainer coming back on Sunday, and I got a decoy and trainer coming back next Thursday. So I got them starting to line up. So what overall, to wrap it up as far as like the topic on what we was talking about as far as the dog just don't got it, or it's the handler fault, and anything else as far as like genetics. And
here's how I'd like to wrap that up. As far as blaming the dog, saying it's the dog's fault, it's very rare that it's the dog's fault. It's almost always the trainer and handler's faults when the dog isn't successful or doesn't meet its potential. Because even if a dog, if you bring any dog to its maximum potential, I call that a success. That dog may not turn out to be what you expected it to be or wanted it to be, but it'll be a success. Now, in every single breeding, you're going to have quote unquote failures. You know what I mean? They're not ever all going to be good. And so sometimes you might have to, I've gone through, back when I was selecting my breeding stock for bulldogs, I might have went through like 18 or so different dogs before I selected the 2 that I really wanted to start breeding with, just testing them out, and I had to rehome them. But I was fair about it. You know what I mean? I put them through performance selection. I gave them the time. Well, I bought older dogs. I didn't buy puppies. That's another thing. So to stick with the topic, it's rarely the dog's fault unless you're considering the dog not having the genetic potential to do what you want it to do. If you consider that its fault, then it might be its fault. And in that case, you simply rehome the dog in an appropriate home and get you a better, another prospect that's hopefully better. But before you make that decision, make sure that it's the dog and not you. Almost everybody's going to blame the dog. Very few people have enough knowledge or the humility, or you know what I mean, to say, no, it was my fault. This dog's still good. And even in that case, say it is your fault. You can still rehome the dog and get another one as you learn. Because again, it's no point in doing the wrong stuff over and over. But I would recommend for those people, don't get another dog directly. Learn first. Too many people get into these dogs that don't have the requisite requirements to bring that dog to its full potential, or to get out of that dog. They expect the dog to just come in a package like, oh, it's just going to happen. They're living, breathing creatures. You know, it's not a car. It's not like you want to buy a Lamborghini because it can go 200 miles per hour. That's not the case. You can't just go. It's like dogs is more like you have 20 different people building the car, and then maybe one of them is going to build a 230 mile an hour car capable. Anyway, if that makes sense. The other thing, so that would be the case. Don't give up on the dog right away. Find the right trainer. Not even every trainer. Many people go to trainers that are supposed experts, and they're not. A lot of people don't know how to work a sentinel, for example. They might only know how to work herders. Their whole life they might have worked herders. They might not know the differences. They might only know how to get a dog to work in prey, but not know how to properly get a dog to work in defense. So before you blame the dog, know that it is the dog's genetics potential that isn't there, that it didn't have the traits to do what it is that's required of what you're asking of it before you dismiss it. And that's what I'd say to that. As far as pedigrees, don't breed on pedigrees unless you know the dogs behind the pedigrees and what their ability to if they have the ability to throw their traits, and knowing the results of the thing. Otherwise, it's just a guess. Again, it's just a guess. You're taking a chance. And educate yourselves, people. There's books out there. There's all kind of information on the internet. Knowledge is power.
Next time you come up, or when you get a chance, give me your recommended great books for dogs, and I'll put it on a post. That
was one of the suggestions I was going to make. I have a bunch of books. We could do book reviews or something like that. I got a handful of books, but
in the meantime, if you can text me some books for people, and I'll put it on a post, because books are amazing. Books are like,
and there's only so much you can learn from a book. Many people think they read a book and then they think they're experts. That ain't the case. But again, that's just people you can't help. This is information, and
reading is amazing. Reading is good. And then it leads you.
I recommend to a lot of people Zenek blah blah Hans Alpine. If you really want to know about protection dogs and obedience, buy his set of videos. I have it. If you follow his teaching step by step, and your dog has the traits necessary, you will be able to produce a good dog. William Kohler is another one. Michael Ellis, if you're into sport work. And obedience, Michael Ellis is another one. He has a whole series of videos on almost all of his training. A good resource for people is go to Leerburg, Leerburg, I believe it is, or ERG, Leerburg. The guy's name is Ed Frawley. He sells a whole bunch of videos. You can buy them, and you can get so much knowledge and information. It's all laid out how to do it. You can see it. And that'll teach you a lot and get you started. But nothing is like experience. You have to try it. You have to have failures. Failure is the best teacher in the world. So many people are terrified of failing. And listen, failing is okay. And it will teach you more than anything else if you learn from it the right way and learn from your failures the correct way. But it looks like I'm nearly impossible. So we'll shut it down for tonight. I'll send you that stuff. Appreciate you having me on again.
I'll put it on the list. And I appreciate you for all your information.
Anytime, man.
All right, man. Peace. Well, chat. We've been on here for 2 hours and 24 minutes. Shout out to A Geezy. Shout out to Crybaby Synologist, the AK the geneticist, and he's gonna send me those books, and I'm gonna put it in as a post. Now, nowadays, a lot of people don't like to read, but if you like to read, you're going to gain some valuable information, and then you can pass it on and pass it on and pass it on, and it can help you be a better dog man. And plus, reading is just fun. So
Read, people. Everything and anything you can read it.
Yeah, you gotta read. So we look forward to we look forward to that list you're gonna send us, and like I said, I'll put it on a post, and yeah, we'll go from there. And then I'm sure you can find the books on Amazon or
some of the stuff I have is going to be difficult to find because it's out of production. But
okay.
there might be you might be able to find PDFs on a lot of it.
Yeah,
but I'll send whatever I recommend, and then people can look for it. And if they find it, they find it, and then if they can't, I mean, we'll try to figure something out.
Find it.
Yeah,
we'll find it. All right, y'all. Peace.
Night.